Can you guys check it if you can hear us?
Today is
They're not talking now.
It's a sweater. We're gonna rush out of the house. I'm burning up right now, but that's gonna change for us.
I already wanted to count here, because what all came inside. Oh, yeah. What you see?
All right, thanks. Bye.
I was ready at 70 last week.
Things pretty slick. It's wireless about everything now. It's kind of like, yeah,
Nice.
I know. So I like it. I only tried it out just last night. And it kind of rolled down a little fast, so I'm kind of testing it out today. It's a little concerned. Hopefully it doesn't.
Morning, Roger.
Morning.
How are you?
It's battery storage.
Morning.
What are you doing?
And your phone's all funny.
I know. I felt my kids made fun of it. They did. They were like, oh my gosh. And I was like, I know. Like, yeah.
You can listen.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's just that you're been flying under the radar for a while.
Oh, man.
That's what you get when he puts me on the spot.
You guys.
Oh, yes, sure.
Unavailable.
I'm gonna- Pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, everyone's here today, so we have a quorum, and this is the Boys County Council Budget Review, second meeting, department heads and discussions later. So we'll start then with the highway department. Donnie, if you could introduce yourself to the public and.
Donnie Leakin, the Boys County Highway Department.
Okay. I guess we'll start on, looks like the highway department on the budget book, page 15. And, if you wanna, I think we'd like to go through it with you line by line if you could. So, under highway. You got nothing in the highway, just highway, and then we'll start with, I guess, highway administration.
Yes.
On,
Page 15.
He's looking at Ann's sheets over there.
Yeah, sorry.
so the
It's
supervisor,
kind of in the middle of the page.
Yeah.
the supervisor rate there, the wages for that coming along with the wage study. And that's you, right?
Yes.
You follow us now?
Huh?
You follow us now?
Yes, I follow you now. Yeah.
Okay,
Gotcha.
so then the engineers, the pay, that's split between the highway and Q Bridge, I believe.
Yep.
We'll get on here next, but, and then physicals, you got $3,000. Clerical assistant, that's the pay period. It doesn't, it's the wage scale, but it's, remember last year, the 2026 budget was 27 pays, and this is 26 for this year, so that's why that's not as much as we anticipated there,
Okay.
year over year.
Okay.
And you've got 2,000 in training. The clerk, again, that followed the wage recommendation scale. Office supplies stayed the same. Safety, medical supplies all stayed the same. And going on down here, travel, training and advertising, all these remain the same. Postage and utilities. And the question I had in the utilities, after I guess that hasn't gone up as much. You guys did a lot of work on redoing the office as far as air conditioning and stuff when you had that renovation.
Yeah.
So that must have helped, huh?
It didn't hurt anything.
Didn't increase anything here. And then contractual services, what, can you tell us what that is?
The what?
Contractual services,
No.
$6,000. You got any idea what that is?
That, I am not totally for sure what that is.
Okay,
Is that when Cambridge does work for highway and vice versa and they pay each
Yeah,
other
yeah,
back?
Yes, that is what that
When
is.
the employees for one do the work and then they have to pay that department or that fund back?
Like whenever the bridge needs help, they'll get it out of the highway department and move over and help them,
okay.
or even sanitation.
Repairs and building grounds, 20,000. That stayed the same. Rental and maintenance equipment stayed the same, and office equipment, they all stayed the same, so then we'll go to page 16. Okay, truck drivers, got them, I guess for the rest of the board, we put that in a lump sum, we don't break it out, and then that's paid out of that line item for that particular position, or positions, I should say. Just so everybody understands. So.
Okay.
And same way with the equipment operators, foreman, part-time people, assistant supervisors, a line item. Again, that followed the wage study. We have got it here, weed spray, bituminous materials. All these stayed the same, so. Straw and seed, gravel, signs, road signs went up slightly, I guess quite a bit, but.
Yeah, we've got a lot of them stolen, vandalized, and we need some more high water signs
Okay,
that we need to get because they just all keep disappearing.
so, and I think that was discussed in the commissioner meeting that, how many were stolen or what.
Yeah, it was, a lot of the counties, they end up just putting up signs all year long, this road may flood. They don't want to do that, they just want to keep putting signs up.
Okay.
So,
Would there be a cost advantage, like over a certain amount of time? If you did put up permanent, I know how long that would take to, realize that benefit. But
or whenever there is a flood, we got to go out manually and put up a sign, whether if the sign will be there. I mean, it just saves a lot of labor. It would definitely save a lot of labor.
Would there be a permanent sign there that you can like unfold,
We do have them, but then we still got to go out
and do that?
and put them up. And of course, a lot of people end up taking that wing nut off and throw it in the field and put it back down just so they can drive through it. So, it'd be nice to have permanent signs, but I understand they're, the safety of the people. A new sign that catches their attention. A sign up all the time, you just sort of drive right past it and don't even think about it.
Otherwise, we move on back on 15 again. Local roads and streets up at the top of the sheet,
Okay.
and get that. A lot of this didn't really change here too much. I think it's.
I don't think local road and streets ever changed.
Yeah, it's not changing, so then we'll jump to Cume Bridge, I think I'm back on page 12. In the center of the page there, I guess, again, you've got your laborers a lump sum, and then they're paid out of that line item. The temporary help, county engineer, that's the other half of his pay, almost two line items. And I guess again, that pay can be, that's kind of reimbursed somewhat by the state.
As long as he's has a PE license, We certify that every year and then we get $40,000 back for him.
Then we got FICA, group insurance, unemployment, perf. Most of these haven't changed, tools and supplies. Going down the line here, I think, actually workman's comp went up a little bit because of various reasons, but I mean, it's just the amount of hours worked and that pay, it changes that, and your comp rate. So do you know that bridge inspection phase 1 was completed? I think that was completed, right?
Yes, yeah, that one was completed, yeah.
And then we've got, we took out these other bridges. Then small structure inspection, I know the engineer probably be more in tune to that, but it's $67,000 for that small structure this year, or
Yeah.
2027?
Yep.
Okay. Questions from anybody on King Bridge? Otherwise, we'll move on to sanitation. I think on page 10. Here again, physicals, most of this stayed the same. Landfill, recycling, equipment maintenance, dumpster sites all stayed the same. Insurance went up slightly. Insurance liability and casualty, I don't know why that's up, but it's probably, we own that site for dumpster up at Holland now. We own that dumpster site at Holland now.
Yes, yep.
And then uniforms went up slightly. Questions there? Otherwise, we'll move to page 16 on your solid waste sticker. Solid waste stickers.
It's on the very bottom.
Yeah.
Page.
Gotcha.
So that went down, those two positions went down a little bit. And again, that's probably the 27 pay period week. Dumpster attendants were all lump sum. And did you get that worked out with internally with the wages? Some of the, I think you had said on the dumpster side, some of the smaller or the larger sites get paid more per hour than the smaller sites. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, there's, was it a quarter an hour more?
It wasn't a whole lot, but it's.
Yeah.
And then, naturally FICA and are going to change. Refuge disposal went up considerably. From 90 to 125. I don't know why that would be, but just the cost of,
Just the cost of dumping the trash and, just,
and the bag fee went up,
yeah.
50 cents too
Yeah.
for this year.
Yes. From $1.50 to $2.
Yes. And then dumpster, again, some of this just got changed around. Dumpster sites got 2 line items there, up and down.
I think when we converted the system, they changed numbers to the system.
Okay,
You won't see that next year.
okay. Recycling costs stayed about the same, and the rest of it, vehicle fuel stayed the same. And the investment purchase.
I don't even know why that's on there.
16, that's probably
I think that's it.
all I see.
That's all.
So,
Okay, that's about it.
so anybody got any issues with any of those, or?
Just concerned with the disposal fee going up even after we charge more for the stickers. Is there a new system going on there, or is there more work being done to more times of just having more trash being disposed of or for the refuse disposal? It went up 35,000, so.
As far as getting rid of it,
Yeah.
uh,
Something that the company just has jacked up the prices on us.
yeah, they definitely went up as far as that, and then, the rental of the bins, the compactors also. But I'm not totally for sure how much it actually, I know it says here 35,000, but, that's one thing I would have to check on. But yes, I know the trash itself went up is quite a bit.
Prices that much.
So,
Otherwise, do you have comments for the council or?
I did talk to I talked to you here a couple months ago as far as with the wage study and everything. And then you said something about, I said it's hard to get guys in there to help cutting trees and everything else. And you said maybe I'll compensate them a little more. I did talk to the commissioners yesterday.
Okay.
And they all agreed. They said, well, me and Marky and Levi had a meeting last week with the foremans, and I would like to put them on call because of the fact that we was changing a lot of things around. I mean, me and Levi are both new to this, and we didn't want to say nothing last year. Levi was wondering right away, why are you guys on call? Why don't the foremans be on call? Because when dispatch calls me, I call the foremans or one of the other guys.
Okay.
So we had a long discussion of that as far as if we can get the foremans just to be on call. And we had discussed $1 an hour raise just for the 3 foremans. And the commissioners agreed upon it yesterday. So we just wanted to see once if we can get that in the budget.
So, I don't want to mention names or exactly, they work for the highway department, 3 of the people. But when we rework their wages, those 3 people or 4 people, I'll just say, Combs, Fromy, both. So we actually increased them. We went back and increased their classification. So they are making $1 or $2 more already. So I think that was adjusted. We're not gonna, I don't know what the board thinks, but my understanding, maybe the wage committee knows better. But I thought that was all adjusted in their pay.
Yeah, it wasn't adjusted for the being on call. I want to take a little bit off my plate. I'm on call 24/7 anyway. If they call them and for some reason they're on vacation or they're in the bathroom or whatever, they'll still call me. If they have a problem, even if they get a phone call and they don't know what to do, well, they still call me. I just want to take a little bit of it off me.
But shouldn't that be in their job description because they're already being paid?
It never was, and they actually don't want the responsibility. But I ask, okay, what will it take for you to do this?
Would you have some foremen give it up if they don't get the overtime or call out pay?
Do I know?
Would you have a foreman say, I don't want to do this anymore if they don't get the call out pay? Just go back to general labor?
Well, we actually did have one guy that got out of it. Back in June, he was foreman, and the mowing job came up. So he went back to mowing, and he got out of it because he said it just wasn't worth it. So, it was in District 2. He was foreman in District 2, and he said it just wasn't worth it. So the mowing job, a guy quit, so he went back to the mowing job, and then so we had to get somebody else. So.
So then with this process, it would bypass you altogether, and then you wouldn't even have to receive the call, is what you're saying. I'm
Yes.
just double checking.
Yes.
That's how that would take that off your plate.
Yeah. It's just so much. Like last Saturday morning, Friday night, Saturday morning, dispatch called me, and so I had to call the foreman And then dispatch called back again and just had to, not repeat it, but just, there was something else going on. So I had to call back to the foreman again. I mean, it's just quite a bit, where if they would just call straight to the foreman, it would just be so much
So
better.
what is the foreman's responsibility? So there's a
They,
tree on the road at 2:00 in the morning. So what's, he gets the call from 911 that there's a tree that has to be taken. So, or maybe the sheriff's department calls, I don't know who calls them. But
as far as just to make sure, like if he doesn't get it, he'll pass it on to somebody else. He just has to make sure it is done. That way, if another car, say if the guy decides not to do it or falls back asleep or whatever, it's gonna be his responsibility if somebody else comes along and runs into the tree.
So you're also asking for that, whoever cuts the tree to come out and get paid 2 hours additional, double time is what you're asking for, is what I understand.
Yeah,
And then how many hours does that normally take? I mean,
That- 2 hours minimum, or maximum, 2 hours minimum, sorry about that.
okay, they get paid for 2 hours minimum. So what if it's a large tree, or do they call in more
Then they may have
reinforcements?
to, may have to call in the machine.
Okay, so this foreman or these 3 foremen, they don't necessarily need to go out. They're not expected to go out.
It just depends if it's in their area. Normally, if it's close to them, they will go ahead and get it. But if it's on the other county or other side of the county, then they'll call someone else.
But I thought you explained to the commissioners that each one of these foremen have a district to go to that
Yes,
they're responsible for. So
yes.
you're saying if it's not close to the foreman's house, they're not gonna go, they're gonna get somebody else to go do it. Is what you're-
Just depends. I mean, if it's close to their house, normally they will probably do it. If they can't find somebody else to do it, they will, even if it is 3 townships away, they'll go get it. But normally what they'll do is they know where everybody lives and they'll call, if so-and-so lives on 400 East and the tree is on 400 East, they'll call him. So.
That's something we're gonna have to take discussions later today. I don't know.
Do we have some type of, and I have not yet viewed the commissioners meeting, so I appreciate hearing all this. I was obligated otherwise yesterday, but in terms of the call outs, do we have an idea, like over the past 6 months, like how often, something like that, just as an example, like how often that would happen? When you
As
call out, and then maybe other laborers that would want to handle whatever the situation is.
as far as the call outs, there was like end of June, beginning of July, whenever all that rain was, there was a lot. And then towards the end of July, there wasn't many at all. I'm thinking there was a month here, was it April or May? I don't think I got a single call. But then, like I said, July, there was a lot.
Sure. I know you can't predict a lot of those types of things, but
Right.
even knowing that sometimes there could be no calls, you're saying that it still is enough to where you feel that your staff feels that it still would not be worth it without having that
Yes.
extra or that additional one.
Yeah. I mean, just because of all the other times, you know. I mean, as far as like Jasper, I called them, I called Jeff Tyson and asked him how they do it. And they actually have a company phone where every week they hand it off to another person. So he's on call for the whole city. And they pay $150 a week is what they pay.
So basically keep them on.
And then there's some guys that they don't want to do it at all. So there's younger guys normally that will take the phone and they'll take over for them. Because, you know, one of the older guys, they just they don't need the money anymore or whatever the reason is. They just don't want to be on call. And Jeff said some weeks, he said they may not get a call at all. And some weeks that person is ready to hand it off because he got an abundance of calls.
But sort of apply that same, set of knowledge. If we were sitting in the county seat, then for an example, then a foreman then in this example would have that would be the one that would have that phone, say for the 150 a week, but then someone else may still get called out to go and handle a tree or whatever other issue. Okay.
So they're getting $3 an hour just for that week extra roughly, but they only get paid the week they're on call, which seems to be the most cost-effective way to do it. So if we would do it, maybe could we do something where we just incentivize the person that's on call, like you're saying Jasper does? Because I mean, $150, you know, $3 an hour for that week, but they don't get that dollar raise the whole
You
year.
mean for the entire year?
Just it's called
Well, I
stipend.
believe they said they had a stipend.
It's called a stipend.
Yeah, so, and they said they're trying to get rid of the stipends. So that's where they had kept the $200 a month would come up to like right at $1 an hour. That's where we got the dollar.
I see.
But is he, what you're asking, Alex, is that correct? I mean, you got 3 people, and
Yeah, it would be more for us.
so it's not just one.
It would be more for us. That's what I meant.
But you-
I mean, like the city of Jasper, $150 a week, it's $600 a month plus the phone. I mean, these guys be using their own phone. It's not a company phone or anything, it's, you know, so a little less than city.
You know, when you look at that, if you look at $1 an hour, and then it's all overtime, and here it's gonna be double time. But I mean, you're looking, for 3 people, that's $7,500. That's even just time and a half. So you start paying them double time. Well, they won't get double time just being a foreman. So I mean, that's, you know, it's quite a bit of money. Then you start adding $1 an hour to, because it's technically all overtime. Or you know, because the highway department works 45 hours, so you get 5 hours every week. It's overtime.
Right.
So I mean, it's quite a bit of money.
Yeah. One thing I will say for Donnie is he held his budget extremely well considering what inflation did this year, except for those disposal fees that Doug was talking about. I was pretty impressed that you didn't have really hardly any increases with all the amount of raw materials you use. I don't know how you did that, actually. Hopefully you got enough budgeted for yourself. But, yeah, that's a lot of money. I don't know.
It is a lot of money, but it would take a lot off my plate. And I'm just,
So I guess,
I don't want to get
go ahead.
burned out on it. I mean, it's just, I get a lot of calls from, I still get a lot of calls from the guys and from the public and everything else, but
But when you say you haven't even been called in July, that's the statement I thought you made.
later in July, 1st of July, I got a lot of calls, and end of July, end of June, 1st of July.
So I guess I wasn't involved, you know, we had that small wage committee when we looked at this. But HR Markey's here, and I thought we sent that up and reworked those foreman's job descriptions.
We did. So, I think what Don is talking about now, like, at this particular moment, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is what we literally just got proposed here on last week, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is all totally new compared to what was.
Okay.
And this is just for the on-call. I mean, before I was, just to get them on, I mean, Steve had got them up so much money over everybody else. And then you only want to give them 2%, so it knocked them back down a little bit. So they just wanted to get the same wage as everybody, same percentage as everybody else.
Okay, so I think we'd have to take those 200 limited advisement. And then I also heard then you were wanting, I think the commissioners meeting, are you still thinking about that, having snow plowing, off hours snow plowing at double time?
Yes, as in the, just ERT time. And this was from 6:30 in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That is all just regular time. But any time before 6:30 or after 4 o'clock. As far like getting the phone call in the middle of the night. The guys use their, like whenever they go cut a tree down, they use their own personal truck, their own chainsaw, and their own gas to go cut up the tree. And,
Snow plowing is different.
well, snow
When you're using
plowing,
the company equipment,
right, they're not, but they're also going in whenever there's 4, 5, 6 inches of snow on the ground. and going in, plowing off the roads, just slick, cold, just to get all the snow cleaned off the road, just so everybody else can go right about their business. And also whenever they go in, they drive out of their driveway with 4, 5, 6 inches of snow, go to work, and their spouses, a lot of times, they can't get out to go to work because their husbands ain't there to clean off the driveway, because they're out. You know, it's just a lot of reasons why they want a little more.
And can I ask Marky a question on that? Would that be setting a precedence for one department that's not available to others, or how would that work?
Well, that's one thing that I did mention to Donnie. We actually sat down last week. Just me, you, the engineer, foreman, we had a good little round table about different stuff. That was one thing that I brought up. I said if we make this policy, we would make it, my idea would be countywide. Now, given that there's not too many that's gonna fall under that class, you know, they're doing that now. Obviously, on their sheriff's office, they can have some emergency situations, they can call some people in or something like that, but historically, there's just not a lot of departments that's gonna utilize that. But what Donnie's talking about there on those off hours, why that was brought up mainly is because there ain't a whole lot more constitutes an emergency than, say, an ice or snow event when they've already put in their time, and then they're trying to put in extra time to get the roads cleared. So I think that's where we're going with that emergency situation. And the policy's already at time and a half, so essentially it's just that extra half time is what it would be. And again, the Commissioner's not voted on that or anything yet anyway, but that is what was discussed yesterday, I guess.
But it would affect the budget.
Correct. Yeah, yes.
So if we go in at 6:30 in the morning to plow snow, that would be just regular time, regular, but then after 4 o'clock, it would start in double time instead of time and a half.
I don't have any other questions.
No, and my question wasn't, your department operates very efficiently, and I appreciate that. But I just needed to see how that would broadcast across the greater county for other positions.
I appreciate you coming in, unless someone else got questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Sheriff, we're running a little behind here.
No worries.
You ready?
Some discussions get long. I understand that. Goes the sheriff. Okay.
Introduce yourself to the public, I guess. I appreciate it.
Tom Kleinhelter, Sheriff.
And then I guess we'll start on page 2 of the budget book.
Yeah.
And so starting, I guess the first line item is the wage for the sheriff or elected official, I should say, dropped down somewhat. Can you got an explanation there? Can you give us an explanation?
Yeah, the elected sheriff has different options on how they get paid and what the county is responsible for. When I came in, after the first year, we negotiated a contract so that the tax sales warrants goes to the county general. However, the new sheriff, whoever comes in, will have the ability to take that money and not take a contract, because you're stipulated by 70% of the prosecutor's pay for our county. So he can either negotiate a contract for a higher wage and give the tax warrant money back to the county, or take the 70% and the tax warrant money.
Okay.
So I put that what is statutorily falls back to, if the contract doesn't come, it's the 70% of the tax warrant. That's mandatory. So that's where I went back, and then I will let the new sheriff decide whether he wants that or if he wants to negotiate a contract.
Okay, thanks.
So that number is the 70% number?
70%, yeah. And then this number is the 70%, but the tax warrant's not in that. So,
Okay, thank you.
And then, let's just, if you don't mind, just run down the list and any of the major changes anyway. Most of it's wages. And that seems like that all follow the wage study.
it did.
And then we get down to, pretty well consistent here on this first page. What I see here, the first one. The first one I see social worker deputy here. It looks like a, and that's something, I know we discussed it here a little bit, but that's because of the grant, that had to go into the general fund.
Most of it's paid out of the grant,
Yes.
but we're gonna have to adjust her line item, I think, a little bit because they got extended through next year.
I think it's through October, is that right? Something like
That's how
that.
long she's off.
Yeah.
September or October, but
Yeah,
so that might need to come down just a little bit. So we'll have to work through that.
okay.
And then the,
Yeah, they were thinking if she takes out 12 weeks, they could maybe go through November.
True.
and, you know, again, these are mine, I just mentioned them here, you know, the gas and oil and tires, they all just went up slightly. Laundry stayed the same. Uniforms went up because I guess we got more deputies
More
also.
deputies, yeah.
So, so I don't see anything on page 2. I don't know if anyone else has something, but, and then, so the
Very
total
next page.
at the top, you know, it's just the total. And
Guess.
we jump to, not page 9.
It's just the total.
Okay.
Oh, the totals are on the top.
Here you go, there's your totals.
And that's the jail, down at the bottom of the page. So again, it's wages, and again, it seems like it followed the wage study recommendations. The jailers are all kind of lump sum in the line item and paid out of that lump sum line item. And then you'll, part-time cooks and program director, just part-time, that jumped somewhat. This 5,000 went to 29. I don't know exactly why that would be, but
Yeah, I didn't have, in my budget, I did not have 5,000.
we didn't.
No, I don't.
Last year.
Did we drop that?
Last year, you mean?
Yeah.
Last year was 5,000. This year is 29. That could have been something with conversion as well.
With the new software you're saying, that probably makes sense, because it's so much different.
They could have had it combined and then separated. I think we're separating it again this year.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay.
I just questioned it here. Otherwise, we go on down and the wages all pretty well again stayed close to the same, just with the changes in the amount of, again, the medical, inmate medical went up quite a bit again, but I guess that's healthcare, like healthcare.
Yeah.
So it went up 13% or whatever. Repairs and maintenance and utilities all went up slightly. UPS, you know, the battery system on UPS, that was not taken, we never did any maintenance. So that's $8,000. That's, I think, that was explained to us.
It was in there and they took that last year already. So I don't know if they moved it or what.
Yeah, on the other sheet I had, I just.
Otherwise, it's not a whole lot of change. Got it.
I'm sorry?
I was just questioning that UPS, so we understood it, but that was as an add-on here, additional, I think. Stewart or somebody put.
Yes, yeah, I think it's a new,
He put it in your budget so Tom could manage it, like Tom Blessinger.
So I don't know, I mean, my thought, again, here with the general budget, really overrun, or what the state recommends outcomes. One of my suggestions is gonna be to move the utilities to CNR tax, income, in lieu of the general,
Mhm.
because it's $275,000 for utilities, so I was gonna recommend that maybe later, just so for your information.
okay.
And then we'll jump to, I don't know, anybody got any questions on the, so we'll jump, to, I guess, page 15 then, on the misdemeanor fund, which probably doesn't,
There's not as much money in the misdemeanor fund as there used to be. And it doesn't get as
And it
much.
doesn't get as much, right?
It used to get 40-some thousand, now I think it gets 13.
I was thinking like 15 or
So
something.
it's very low.
so the budget's only 20, I mean, total budget's 28, and last year was 90, so.
Yeah.
I don't have any questions
Ran out of its
there.
surplus.
For me,
It ran out of its
Yeah.
surplus.
so do you have any comments or anything for the board?
I do not, no.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for the sheriff?
And the only thing I'll say is when I raised stuff, it was the cost of living, what they projected, and that was pretty much the rate.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I appreciate you coming. All right.
Thank you.
Have any questions
Do you
for
have
us?
hourly rate for your part-time cook and jailers?
Our hourly rate is, the county,
The $16.50?
yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to double check.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Maybe we'll get you back on time.
So, Wyatt, how are you this morning?
Good.
Real good.
Does everybody have one of those? I printed off a copy for everyone. It's the email that was sent out.
I know, I was gonna say, I appreciate it. It's a lot. That's big.
Within the year,
You need a million changes.
Not 2 monitors, so it can go across with them. I can only do it at work, yeah.
I forgot to pass you that.
Okay.
There were a couple of changes from last week, and we found something within last week as well. So we have replacement pages. And one of these is with Wyatt.
Well, we have more
Page
stuff we gotta do.
22, 4, and
Decisions that we hadn't made. So she's getting new sheets.
Nothing changed from yesterday.
You have to ask her, I don't know.
no,
You gave me mine.
no.
Do you have one for me?
Yeah.
She.
one separate.
Okay.
Do you have an updated page?
Yours are, this is already updated.
Why do you want to do the summarization first and then go into each one?
I'm fine with whatever, however you want to proceed.
Summary, yeah.
I think if you do this summary,
Nice, yeah.
are we ready then? Can you introduce yourself to?
Wyatt Madden, Director of Community Corrections.
And then let's, we're here for the community corrections budget hearing here. And do you have a breakdown, or why don't you give us a synopsis of what you handed out here
Okay.
a little bit?
Over the past 2 years, community corrections across the state has lost approximately $14 million in funding. That's funneled down to Du Bois County. In total, we've lost a little over $343,000 in state grant funding from Indiana Department of Corrections. It's affected our budget somewhat. In item 2, kind of be fiscally responsible. Well, we had someone retire, our assistant director is retiring later this year. So to kind of be fiscally responsible, we're going to eliminate the CQI position, which saves about $102,000 a year with salary and benefits, health insurance, and then combine the assistant director and CQI job descriptions together, which was approved yesterday at the commissioners meeting. With the reduction in grant funding, we've had to transfer some expenses into project income and into the CNR tax. Mainly some staff salaries and our GPS contract. The reason I decided to do the GPS contract is just much cleaner rather than trying to budget 2, 3, 4, 5 positions with benefits and then trying to get payroll from 2 or 3 different line items. It's just much cleaner to do one item. The salary increases, most employee salary increases are budgeted through the IDOC grant and project income, so that hasn't changed over the past many years. They're all on par with what the county recommendation was. I didn't ask for more, I didn't ask for less. It's exactly what was recommended. And then there's various other funding streams that there's really no changes in. Highlighted in yellow on the sheet that I gave you, we're still waiting on the IOX awards for pretrial and drug court. I do not know when to expect those, but I'll keep the auditor's office updated.
And in order to make the budget,
Yeah.
and in order to make the budget balanced, you have that in CNR money then?
Yes.
CNR tax fund.
Yeah, so drug court has lost funding as of next year from the Indiana Department of Corrections, and pretrial actually lost it this year and next year. So we moved those 2 positions, the pretrial coordinator and the drug court case manager, into CNR tax. The pretrial coordinator position was actually budgeted last year or this year in CNR tax, but we had a supplemental come in late last year. And we were able to pay a majority of her salary out of that supplemental IHOPS grant.
So do we want to go through the, I appreciate you doing this spreadsheet. I think this is easy to follow. I don't know if we want to go through it maybe first, or do we want to take the line items of it in the budget book? So we have one. We start on page 20. So let's just follow the book so we got trouble in here. And that is project income, I guess, would be the first line item here, on page 20.
Do what?
I was thinking of, community corrections.
Yeah, so not much has changed in project income. Like I said, a majority of the salaries and FICA and PERF are budgeted out of the grant and project income. The 2 differences are highlighted in red. We took drug screens and travel training from the grant and moved it into project income. And in the orange color, $180,000 is budgeted for the GPS contract. Took $150,000 out of that and put it into CNR tax to kind of balance our project income budget.
I guess, I don't know about the rest of it, but can you give us a little bit how that GPS system, or how does that that's just like an ankle bracelets or whatever you want to call it, or?
Yeah, that includes our, the home monitoring, the GPS bracelet, any type of tools or anything ordered throughout the year, screws ordered. It also includes our alcohol monitoring backtrack unit. And those are all, that's a daily rate that we have to pay.
Questions on that? Anybody? Otherwise,
I have a quick question for Brooke or Sandy. On the fund balances report you gave us, can you refresh my memory what the outstanding investments are? What that column contains?
For Project Exec.
It's just on the fund balances.
Whenever they have investments, they move that money over so we can't, it's not in your cash.
Okay.
It's 152.
So
You're right, why it's 152,000. Thank you.
So what page are you on?
No, I was just looking on the fund balances.
Oh, those are investments we had. You have to take it out of your cash
Okay,
because you can't spend it when it's invested.
right, yeah. Okay, I just needed a refresher on what that column was.
But he does have a CD.
And that's good. I'm glad our treasurer's on it.
Well,
Listen,
this is when they're dedicated to a fund, like he'll tell him, I have so much money, you can tie it up, and then that fund gets the interest. If we do a jackpot, which is just any available money in the bank, then county general gets that interest.
I think we had discussions on that money, that 150, because of the project income can go, up and down, and if there's not money to operate,
sure.
we're in trouble there. So, that's why we kind of thought that it would be best to keep that in an investment or operating capital. So,
Thank you.
I don't know how long you tie it up.
Maybe about 6 months each time.
Yeah.
So the project income, do we want to just follow this
Okay.
Excel document? So you went to project income, I guess misdemeanor or whatever that is.
Yeah, it's the misdemeanor fund.
So
The
that's
misdemeanor fund is one fund that's shared between the sheriff and community corrections.
Mhm.
They each get half of what receives in.
There's no changes from this year, from the misdemeanor fund. It just pays a portion of one of our staff salaries.
okay. And then the next one is CTP.
Yep, CTP, there's really no changes. We have a membership fee for ICAC in there. We have a Relias training. It's an online training platform that we utilize for staff, and then our case-based contract.
And then the next one,
DCR, we submitted our applications for that earlier this month. We'll probably get a notification of award sometime in the next 2 months, I would say.
and then the CNR, hit on the CNR tax, but that's paid.
Yep, CNR highlighted in green there are the 6 positions that have been previously funded over the past 2-3 years. And then it highlighted in orange are those drug court case manager and pretrial services coordinator that I budgeted out of CNR. Like I said before, the pretrial coordinator position was budgeted in 2026. So the new staff line item is the drug court case manager. And then at the bottom is the track group GPS contract for $150,000. Other than those 3 line items, nothing's changed. Except the increases in salaries.
Again, some of this, some of the newer ones, when we had that Lilly grant,
Mhm.
when we got that Lilly grant, that paid for a lot of these positions. We were expected to pay on the CNR tax or some way to help support this, this community correction. So that is as you can see, it's kind of increasing each year. I think we hired some, and you probably got them on your officers.
Yeah, we had 4 officer positions created.
So that's coming out of CNR. I
Yeah,
mean, the
because
only,
Lily's gone now.
pardon, yeah,
It was a
Lily,
step down, so it's gone.
right, it phased out over 4 or 5 years, roughly
Yeah.
speaking. So I guess as far as the council's concerned, we have to remember, there's sufficient funds to pay the budget, or the bond, I'm sorry, and then this is, this money has to be construction and rehabilitation. So, I mean, that's why we accumulate the money or people paying taxes for.
I will say with those 2 positions in orange, like I said, this year we had a supplemental grant for the pretrial coordinator position. So, although I budgeted the coordinator position out of CNR, we're not paying that. So,
Okay.
I mean, we're saving $60,000 this year by not paying it out of CNR.
Just so we understand it, I think the council understands where that money's coming from. So there's sufficient funds to do it. There's no problem there, but just so we understand where it's coming from. So. And then county general.
County general, there was no changes to any line items. It actually decreased a little bit because of 2026 has 27 paychecks.
And again, I'm gonna maybe recommend to the council to put, in order to save money in the general, because we're over budget, we may talk about moving that to CNR for the $52,000 for utilities. We can discuss that later, but and drug court has 0, right?
I'm sorry.
The next item, drug court has $0.
Yeah, that was one of the grants that was cut for 2027.
Okay. And drug court user fees,
Drug court user fees, nothing, I don't believe anything changed out of that either.
drug court and the other.
Drug court IOPS, that's still one of the pending awards.
Okay.
Highlighted in yellow, those are typically the line items that have been funded in previous years. So travel training, program materials, incentives, and drug screen supplies. The next one, pretrial IDOC, that was cut this year and next year. And that typically paid for the coordinator position. And then the last one's also a pending grant that pays for the 2 pretrial service officers and the part-time pretrial service officer. And then also a couple line items at the bottom that are highlighted in yellow. That award's fluctuated the past several years. I mean, we've gotten 230,000 one year, 170 the next year, so I really don't know what to expect with all the budget cuts across the state.
So when Wyatt sent that to us, it went to the auditor's office and Brooke reviewed it. I think she found on the ones she changed, I think perf and the other was not maybe budgeted for. So we had made that change on page 22.
Our sheets didn't have FICA and perf on it, yours did, so we had to
Yeah,
add
so
it.
we,
You didn't have it.
so otherwise, I don't know if we want to go through each line on it again. He's got it kind of broken down, but I don't know if we want to. But I think Brooke went through it, didn't see any changes besides, we didn't have those two.
Yeah, the only numbers that were on the spreadsheet you gave to Mike, that versus what you gave me, is that FICA and perf. So that was fixed.
Okay.
And that was on page 22.
Do we want to go through each line on it?
I think that was very helpful.
Well, I checked a bunch of them too.
Is the 98,000 for benefits, is that that salary of the director, or is that something else that went to do?
Which sheet are you on?
I'm just on the first one, page 20, on the bottom.
Okay.
That was really the only thing that I had for that question.
Page 20.
Yeah, it's about 5 or 6 down.
I'm assuming that's salary and benefits, but
For the director that we don't.
The benefits went from 98,000 to 0, is that what you're talking about? So how we used to do it in budget, we did it all different ways. When we did budgeting, we would budget either benefits like FICA and perf and insurance all in one line item, or some were set up differently, like FICA and perf, they were all separated, or 2 of them were in there and separated. So what we're doing is we're making it all consistent. So we're having a FICA and perf, you'll see a lot of new line items where there's 0 before and now there's money in there this year. That's what that is. So,
Okay. It was just the same amount, I think roughly is that salary, so I was curious, I didn't know, I didn't think so.
no, it's fine.
I don't know, I'm gonna see unless we want to go through each sheet, but I think it's just kind of redundant in some respects.
Yeah.
Anyone have any questions on any of I guess hearing none, appreciate you coming in, appreciate all the work. I think the front work here.
I got one question. What, like, when you go to these conferences, what do other counties, like, what's their plan going forward? How do they, like, you're getting creative and doing things to keep your budget good? Is there anything you hear or any ideas?
yeah, there's programs going away because
Just straight up cuts?
I mean, funding is so significantly decreased in some counties that they can't afford, or the county can't afford to take on the expenses. There's hiring freezes all over the state. Yeah, I mean, it's not good.
No, it's not. I just said no. I mean, you're keeping it going, it seems like, and combining positions and not refilling them. That's good. I guess it's good. I mean, it helps with the budget side anyway.
Thanks for your comments there, Alex. I know you sit on that board, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, and Wyatt got a lot of money through community solutions for other things too. So that worked out really well.
Mhm.
Probably had a 10-to-1 return, I have to roughly guess. I don't know, something like that.
I really feel that, in my personal feeling is it's a pretty critical program that we've got in the county. You know, we've got a nice building now, we've got capacity up there that we can do. I just think it's a great thing because, you know, it doesn't cost us a whole lot to keep someone, whereas the jail, you know, just like medical on the jail, it's a big expense to keep someone there, even. So I think it's a good way to keep in existence. But thanks for what you do.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming in. We did this, it's just a lot of sheets.
Yeah, it is.
So, Stuart?
Nobody has as many funding streams as Wyatt.
Yeah, it's enough for you to say it.
So,
I was following Wyatt, his is so much more complicated.
you're just
than
such easy, huh?
mine. That's easy.
Hey, we'll take easy, Stuart.
Yeah.
So if you could introduce yourself for the
Yeah,
public.
Stuart Wilson, Director for Du Bois County 911.
Thank you for coming in. I guess we'll start with state 911 surcharge on sheet 18 of the budget book.
There was some shuffling around of some amounts based upon the salary recommendations, the wage study. There was some individual discussion with our assistant director's position that Mike and I had, and maybe Mike and I had as well, that we kind of kicked to the wage study committee, which was a very welcome discussion. And I would echo a lot of the department heads in the county that I really appreciate all the hard work that went into the wage study. That was a huge undertaking by people that didn't ask for it and a lot of our elected officials that did the work. And I certainly appreciate the effort that went into it to kind of square up with where I felt like we needed to be for myself individually, of course, but also for across the board. I think it's a good representation from our elected officials down to even our entry-level employees that the county is doing the right thing for their employees. I think it's a good representation. And I want to thank everybody, HR as well, for all the work that went into that.
Thanks for the comment.
As far as the budget numbers, there was a small increase in one line item in the statewide, and that item is repairs and maintenance, and it pays for our WTH mapping. It pays for our computer-aided dispatch maintenance and data hosting, and there has been very small increases, not much from WTH. They've really held the line pretty well. I think they had a small increase last year. CAD, the computer-aided dispatch vendor, has had about 3% increases annually, and we've been able to swallow that up until this year. For 27, the budget numbers didn't add up. I wasn't going to have enough money. Those are the only items other than wages or benefits that come out of the statewide surcharge dollars. There was a little bit of shift with the change in the wages, going from 27 pays to 26 pays. I have run the numbers forward. If we don't spend that money this year, it's still there for next year. I did run the numbers forward all the way to the end of 27. We are good at those wage amounts with that fund. There is some talk on the state level that there may be some increases as a lot of the lits go away. There has been early discussion from the state legislature about increasing those fees that keep that those funds come from. So every cell phone bill has a $1.25 charge. They are considering a substantial increase in that. The early discussions is they're talking about $2 per device, which could be significantly more coming back to the county to support our operation, which is the way it used to be. We haven't had an increase in that fund since 2012. It's been 100% static. These are the dollars that you get. And I don't think there's a single thing out there that costs what it cost in 2012. And our wages are definitely one of those things. I will just keep the council informed as I get information. We have a statewide conference here in about 3 weeks. I'm hoping to gain some more information. They told us don't bank on it, of course, and it'll follow the state's fiscal year. So it could be possible that in 27, during the start of the new state fiscal year, we could start seeing additional distributions from the statewide board to us, but we won't know that. We'll just have to cross that bridge when we come to it. And I'm hopeful that when I'm presenting a 28 budget to you, these numbers will look a lot better on the balance between statewide 911 funds and general fund. I know we've gotten really heavy on general fund. We've gone from 60% statewide 911 to 40% at 40% general, and it's reversed. We're about 60% general and 40% statewide, which is just a huge load on our local taxes. And I don't like it either. That's my tax dollars. So I'm hoping we have there's kind of a light at the end of the tunnel here, and they'll square up, and it'll be a good win for the county, and we'll be able to shift some of these expenses from general back to statewide, but it won't be until at least the 28 budget.
That'd be nice.
You mentioned the, that database system maintenance or whatever, 75,000.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you presented to the commissioners, like a server or something.
We did, yeah, and it's a different. I have a repair and maintenance line item in my general fund, and I have a repair and maintenance line item in my surcharge funds. I have kind of separated them out, even though I could probably pay one from another or move them back and forth. Historically, I don't. Certain vendors I'll pay out of the general fund dollars, and certain vendors I'll pay out of statewide. That particular request from yesterday is going to be covered under general fund dollars that I have not spent yet. They're not accounted for. I will pretty well exhaust that. The statewide 911 repair and maintenance line item will be down to probably less than $2,000 at the end of the year. I will spend almost every dime. I run on a pretty tight margin on almost everything that I do. I'd like to have a 10% cushion, but I don't. There's very few items that I have much cushion, especially in the statewide. I mean, it's mostly spoken for by wages. That's the reality of it. Employees are expensive, and we spend a lot of money.
So on that particular item there, that server or whatever,
Mhm.
that's something that's not gonna be an additional.
It will not.
For
Yeah, this year, there's enough cushion in that general fund line item that I have some flexibility to do machine replacements. And normally I would use it for computer equipment or maybe not necessarily IT. It could be radio infrastructure or infrastructure projects to support 911. Some of that stuff's very expensive. This server is incredibly expensive, almost $20,000 item. But I do have historically about $28,000 to $30,000 cushion in a $132,000 line item, and it is just enough to get what I need for the year. Like last year, we replaced some desktop computers. We added some radio infrastructure this year, some enhanced monitoring so we know what's going on out at the tower sites. We've got a live monitor that tells me if the radio site is up, if it's working, when it's receiving, what signal strength it's broadcasting, what the temperature is in the building, all this enhanced monitoring that allows us to report to the insurance services office that we're providing this enhanced level to our firefighters, which in turn leads to a better rating for ISO, which leads to cheaper insurance for property owners in Du Bois County. So we're providing an expensive service with a lot of those things, but we're also providing that service at 9.7 out of 10 on the ISO scale. We have 10 points available and we're getting 9.7. It is historically high. We've never had that high of a score, but it's high because we've invested in the equipment and we've spent the dollars. We've bought generators. We have monitoring. We're appropriately staffed. We're appropriately trained. We do quality assurance. There's just a lot of different parts in there, and our businesses in the county and our homeowners in the county are receiving the benefit of that better ISO rating. So it kind of fits into economic development a little bit, but that's a deep hole, never ending. But we are certainly doing our part for Du Bois County 911, and I'm really proud of that. But it's been done by funding from the council to be able to get those things accomplished. And that's a long-term project. We've been working hard on that for 7 years.
Thanks for explaining that. As far as anybody questions on that statewide 911?
Well, I think every year we have to report what he does with this, and it has to be used for certain things. You can't deviate from that.
Right. There is a statewide a report that goes to the statewide board. Typically it's due every year at the end of January. It does have to balance to the dollar, to the penny. I work with the auditor's office to get that accomplished because some of it is auditor's expenses. We have always been 100% balanced on that. It is a pretty short list of things that we can buy with those funds, and we're always compliant. If I have any questions, the state board is they're very helpful. They're good people. They're from the 911 world. They want to see us have a strong center. They're a good partner in getting this all accomplished. But yeah, it's a pretty specific set of expenses that you can use. A good example would be, I came to the council and I wanted to put a fence around our tower site at the jail. Not an expense. I asked, we can't do that. So there's, and they'll tell you, they're not afraid to tell you, no, you can't spend those dollars. So but they have us on a pretty short leash, statutorily. It is hard and fast rules on what we can and can't. But the reality is we could spend every dime of that money on wages, and wages is an acceptable expense. So, we could spend it all on wages and then some.
As long as they work at 911.
Yes. Yeah. You can't do support staff.
Right.
Like if I wanted, we don't have it, but if I had an administrative assistant, we can't pay that. We can't pay that person with state lunch. It has to be directly related to 911 calls.
Okay.
And then that change on the $1.25 to maybe $2, is that just a 911 statewide board decision, not a legislative?
It's a legislative decision.
So we have to wait for the legislative cycle to.
Correct. I've heard that their, whatever fall legislative session exists, it may be talked about then. I think we'll know more when that goes, when that happens. I guess the next session would be in the springtime for July 2028 changes. I will follow it closely. Our state board will be following it closely. And what they've told us now is don't count on anything. Well, of course you can't. You can't count on those dollars being there. We're in budget season. That's not how that works. So I think a lot of counties that have public safety lits that are getting ready to face a huge change have to have something. So even though I'm a proponent of public safety lits, we're going to end up in a better position because we never had one. And our general fund was able to support our operation at a high level. And now we're going to get some money that we never had coming. We didn't miss what we never had in the first place. It's kind of one of those situations. So maybe it ends up for 911 specifically. It probably ends up for the best that we didn't participate in a public safety lit and we didn't take dollars from a public safety lit. So that's a weird way to look at it, but that's the truth of what we're talking about here. You know, if we had go from $1.25 to $2, we're looking at nearing $200,000 or more. It's substantial. That's a big chunk.
It probably should be advanced, like you say, if it's since 2012.
Yes.
Something needs to be
We've
done.
been fighting that
14
for
years. 14 years.
So, all right, well, let's move on to page 9 then on the this communications 911. Second thing. So again, the wages or communications officers are in that line item.
They are. The only discussion that we had was actually Brooke catching a mistake that I had made about our training officers. In the past, we had a stipend and the wage study, that was all kind of tried to clean all that up and get it a little more similar across the board for the different departments. So there's one kind of an unknown situation. If I want to add a training officer, a CTO, how do we do that? There's not a position for it. The funds are not there for it. And I kind of think, and we do have an employee that's interested in becoming a trainer. Historically, at one time we had 6 and then we were down to 5. Today we have 4. We may have 5 again sometime next year. But I'll just have to, what I've got in mind is I will just approach the council and have discussion about the increase in funds for that one particular situation. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. It's kind of an unknown. The wages, other than that, that's the only wage situation that exists. Everything else matches with what the wage study recommendations were. All of the line items are held the same. This will be several, probably the 3rd year of holding the line on everything, which I'm really proud of, being as frugal as I can be in managing those things. We do have a little bit of flexibility. The one line item that I think is a little bit low is our training and travel. Travel expenses obviously are far higher than they were, 10 years ago. Our training budget also hasn't changed. The state 911 board has made more offerings to us free of charge, where the only thing we're doing is we're paying employee mileage to drive to classes. And we're making everybody carpool, and we're doing it as cheap as we can. But with the extra offerings from the state, we've been able to manage with those training and travel funds. I don't know how sustainable that is long term, but I do have another line item that's listed as telephone that is probably flexible, that I could use those funds if need be. If I see something that is a really big need, yeah, we could probably do that. We're saving money on telephone expenses. We used to pay far more. We've got, I think there's 11,000 in that line item. 14,000. And I probably need about 6 as my expenses are today. We've done a good job working with the auditor's office to get our admin funds onto the countywide system and do things that are just cost savings. And so we've let that money go back to general fund at the end of the year. It is there if I need it, but I don't know if I need it yet. That's my only cushion that's really built in. And that's pretty small when you're looking at the grand scheme of all together. You're looking at $1.3 million. I'm talking about 4,000 or 5,000 here or 2,000 there. It's pretty tight margins and it's pretty small amount of flexibility, I feel like.
The travel and training, is that done on the web, or is that, you have to travel for that?
All the stuff through the state is in person. And we've been driving to Newburgh for a lot of the courses. There's a wonderful center that Warwick County coordinates, the Freedman Park Center, and some of you might be there for meetings.
Yeah.
It's an incredible meeting space. The state provides training that probably would typically cost $250 or $300 for an 8-hour course. There's no charge. Vendors are partnering up with the state, providing lunch to our employees, so they get served a nice meal. They're in a beautiful facility, and the only thing we have to do is reimburse our employee to drive there. The total cost we had 15 attendees over 2 days, and the total cost of the county was about $350 in mileage.
Wow.
So it's incredibly cheap. The rest of the stuff is online, where we are invoiced, but I turn that invoice into the state, and the state pays it. The money doesn't even run through our books.
So do you make that mandatory, the training for all the folks in your department then?
Some. Those, because they're so good, yes. I hate the term mandatory training, but when this class is so good and so expensive, yeah, we're gonna make it mandatory. We do
I would
that.
think most people would want to anyway.
We do it once or twice a year. The rest of the training is pretty flexible. We are state mandated to be 24 hours a year minimum, and we can meet those minimums in-house. We do quizzes once a month that equals 6 hours of continuing education. Our assistant director puts those together and runs those. Everybody takes them, myself included. We train at a pretty high level. I think last year our average was 47 hours per employee is what we averaged for continuing ed. That's a great number. That's a lot of training.
Thanks for all the explanation. Any questions on this communications budget, general?
And I should add too, we did run this past, Doug knows, we did have our advisory board meeting in June. We did present this budget to the advisory board and they voted in support of it. The only changes since then were the assistant director's wages that we discussed with the wage study committee. And then a couple of bookkeeping errors that I made that Brooke found when I went to turn in my budget worksheets. And they were individual dollars, small amounts, and then of course FICA and PERF corrections that went along with those dollar amounts. But essentially, other than the assistant director's wages, it is as presented to the advisory board and voted in support of as well. So I think that's important. That board is a volunteer board that provides an incredibly valuable resource to Du Bois County. So.
Well, thank you for all the explanation coming in this morning. Any additional questions?
I think he does a great job of keeping it as tight as possible with what he has to work with. And you have to work with how you want to change over the years.
Yeah, we've been.
Other things have, so
We're fortunate
tighter. So
it is a good
eventually
two-way
we'll
street.
have to search out other options, but
Maybe we'll have a solution here, but we'll know more. We'll know more in the next budget year. But I would think that we'll have some discussion. I'm hoping we have some discussion yet this year, or at the first advisory board meeting in January, we'll have some guidance and some direction on where this is headed, and we'll know going into budget season if we want to make sweeping changes, large-scale changes to move expenses. That it could be a far more significant discussion next year. I'm hoping we're better funded and we can do that and kind of lighten the load on the general fund. That's going to be good. So I recognize I recognize what you're saying. I don't disagree with what you're saying, so thank you to the
Well,
council.
thank you for coming.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Stuart. Are we okay with our break? Did I- We all right? Yeah. Good morning, Tammy.
She had it on page 8.
Says
page
So why don't you,
On page 8 and 9.
if you would both introduce yourself in public.
I'm Tammy Humphrey, Du Bois County EMA Director.
And Doris Azim, Deputy Director.
Well, thank you for coming this morning. We're gonna go through the budget emergency management first on page 8 of the document you got in front of you. Under emergency management general. So.
So,
Go ahead.
do it. Yeah, I see it now.
So, the director, I mean, the wages of the director and deputy were both what the wage study had recommended.
Correct, I made no changes to that.
Okay.
Just like over the other year, they get pay reimbursement for meeting certain standards, and you've met that. How many years now since you've been in office, please?
I mean, every year that I've been affiliated with emergency management, so quite a few.
What does that come to about?
It's
40,000?
43,000, and a few $100s. I can't remember the exact total, but it's about 43,000 that comes back to county general fund every year.
That's great. So I don't go on to the second page 9. Yeah, I don't have any copies of the first sheet. There's not a lot of drastic change here.
No, there really isn't. I made two changes to the EMA budget. The first one was under dues and subscription, and that's just to cover the increase of our badging system that we have. It goes up annually. So I added $500 to cover that expense. And then, I don't know if you all remember, but we are now IPAWS. We have IPAWS in Du Bois County, thanks to you guys. Supporting that, and so that's the additional $1,800 under alert services to cover that expense. It's an annual expense of $1,800 that was not in my budget previously. So this will cover for here on out. That's just how much the fee is to be IPAWS ready on our rave alert system.
That works pretty well, I think.
Well, I mean, it is super exciting to be able to have something that we can notify every county citizen, and even those that are just in town, if they're in an area where we have an issue. I mean, it's very great to have that in Du Bois County after all these years, so I'm very excited about it.
Thank you. Questions on that? Otherwise, we'll move to page 13. Surcharge, I guess.
Local emergency planning. Yeah, the local emergency planning. That is a budget that is approved by the local emergency planning committee. No changes have been made in 16 years since I've been the chairman. We continue to work under the small working budget of 42,000. Our total budget, I think, is more than that, based on, some of the monies that we receive in, but we just work off of a $42,000 working budget, and that's held us every year. We've never had to come back to you and ask you to move some money around, so.
Appreciate that. So, and then, I guess page 21 then.
Yes.
Would be the
It's the donation fund.
Oh, I see, right. Okay, so the donation fund, it shows you as $4,112. But we have sent, the amount of money for 27 will only be $700. The $4,112 was for 26 that we spent that money. We weren't sure we would get that taken care of before the budget presentation or not. And we did. We purchased some equipment that we will be working on getting out to some of the citizens in the county, weather radios. So the endowment we've been told we will receive annually about $700 annually. So that's where we're gonna change it to, from the 4112 to $700 on this.
I don't think that's. Do you have any other, I guess council, do you have any questions? Any of the budget? Or if you have anything else to do?
No, I'm pretty simple, aren't I?
We appreciate that.
You know, we'll take simple and it's better than me coming to, or asking for emergency dollars, right? So we've been pretty blessed with this year so far, so.
Thank you for coming in.
Yep.
Appreciate the work you do.
Thank you. Yeah.
The simple ones out of the way.
Yeah. You just have that.
Good morning, and thank you for coming in. If you could introduce yourself to the public.
Good morning, County Clerk Amy Kippenbrough.
Stephanie Fair, First Deputy.
And then we'll start on, I guess, page 1 here. Instead of just got a new one, right?
Yeah, the new page one.
The clerk's budget, I guess, we would do, so.
Yeah, we took everything for the clerk budget is the same as before, except for the suggested wage increases. And then I had added one new line, and I wasn't really for sure. I added it in a line just to get it on there so we could have a conversation about it. I called it a bilingual stipend. It's my understanding that we're going away from stipends that are not legislatively mandated. I have one staff member that's bilingual. She's been with us for about 1.5 years. 20% of the work that she does is in Spanish. She's been a huge asset to our office. Other offices have used her as a resource as well. She's been across the hall. She's been upstairs to court. She's been on the phone with different people needing services in our building. Before she came to work in our office, we used the county translator staff member, and that worked. It still had some struggles and it wasn't as efficient. So I was really grateful to find someone that when we had an opening that could speak bilingual languages. So anyway, I did a little research. It's a little green to me. What I found was it's anywhere from 5 to 20% premium pay for someone who's bilingual. It was very last minute when I was submitting budget, so I just chose 20% and threw the number in there so we could at least have a conversation about it. I feel like it's not just that she's bilingual, it's the amount of understanding the work that we do in the office and how to explain that to the person who come to the window. So when you interact with the court system, you're probably not having the best day of your life most of the time. So many people that come to our office, they're wanting to seek protective orders or divorces, or they're having some kind of very emotional journey and that led them there. So it's understanding the process and then being able to have some conversation with that person about it. So she's very valuable to our office. It makes things run more efficiently since she understands the process and then knows how to have the conversation. I feel like that we should reward her with some kind of premium to her pay. Whether we call it a stipend and we make it a different line, I don't know how we get it where I want to accomplish it. And I don't know how we probably meet in the middle on what the dollar amount is. I'm okay with not 20%, but I feel like something should be rewarded to her. I put it as a separate line because if she would leave and we would replace that third deputy position with another person who's not bilingual, I guess in my thought, I didn't want it in the position pay. So I don't know how we make that look or how it works. If you have thoughts or comments, I'm happy to do more research or answer any thoughts you have.
I know this was discussed amongst the wage committee and with Marky's input as well. You know, there are other departments that have bilingual speaking individuals that greatly help with our community. You know, I don't think anyone else has requested that, and, you know, so how do we move forward, you know, with that, and I think that's for much discussion, you know, how, you know, I don't think anyone has it in a job description requiring it. You know, is that something that we need to look at, that it is required, or, you know, for the individual departments that have someone that's bilingual, is that a need that their department has to have, that, you know, maybe we would add that to a job description requirement? You know, I think that would be a good place for discussion. I don't know. You know, we're trying to work away from stipends just because, you know, from the wage study side, they said it very much made the water muddy for them doing the study, and I don't know how to move forward with the wage.
How do we justify when others have it and they're not getting the stipend or whatever, and how much is it gonna be? You know, you said anywhere between 5 to 20%, so where do we land on that? That's, the 5% would be 23, 35, low end of that, for that one position. And like you said, is it a needed position for certain departments? It's definitely a benefit, and how do we work that in to either make it a requirement for certain positions, certain departments?
I think that was,
or just saying if you have a Spanish speaking or whatever language speaking, on top of that, you get this amount. I don't know.
like some kind of premium pay. It talked about there was different ways to establish pay structure, flat stipend or a percentage differential. But it did also, in the research that I found, it said to set up some parameters to define what an employee has to do to get that premium. You know, and our conversation in our office has been, she's happy to help other departments. I mean, she's been upstairs to the court several times when our translator wasn't available. There's been many times that she's been used on the phone or across the hall for property tax conversations, and my conversation, I mean, she's not getting compensated from any of those offices for the work that she does for them. She's very good
Work for other offices.
team player, and my take has always been, as long as the clerk's office work is getting done and you can extend the time to the other offices, then that's great. I think she's a resource that we've used. I think that it deserves some kind of recognition for that. And I think that's me advocating for something in her pay to recognize that. She didn't come to me asking for that. She is a huge resource that we use in our office. And the efficiency that it creates because she's there has got value to it. When we've used, the court system has a translating line that you could call, and you can sit on hold for a few minutes until you get connected with someone to use. But again, when you're on the phone, and I've used Google Translate at my window when we've needed it, we've called Indira over. Again, if somebody is at my window asking for a protective order or wanting to file for divorce, and there's some emotional situation that's tied to it, waiting 5 minutes for a solution is not effective for that person. We've had people leave before they finish their business because of it. It's not an everyday thing or an always thing, but like the things that we deal with are very emotional most of the time at our window. So having someone understand the process, to understand the language that they have to use when they're translating is really important. So it's created a lot of efficiency in the process. So
What position is she in right now? The third?
she's the third deputy on my all of my staff is cross-trained, so they pretty much all take care of a lot of different things, but she's classified as a third deputy today. So again, I'm okay with not being the 20% number that I threw in the budget, but I definitely think that there should be some premium pay contributed to her. It would be an effect if she left my office, and how we would fill the gap, knowing that we already have her. I think there's a lot of things that we accomplish that we just put to the wayside before, that just didn't get attention.
But that's almost what leads me to believe that it should be in the job description, because it's creating efficiencies based on that specific type of office. I agree, she can float to other places, but that, that, it's just so tough. There's so many different groups, I think, probably that benefit from having additional support in that way.
And even though we're not, if you choose to not pay her a premium to her salary or to some effect, we are still paying for it one way or the other as taxpayers. We're paying for either that court line, or we directly are paying for our county translator. We're paying for it. It's just a matter of how efficient are we running the process, I guess. So everything else was pretty much the same for the clerk budget. Took the recommended increases from the wage study for all the other staff members, and everything else on the clerk budget was the same.
So I guess we'll move on then to the election board on
Okay.
maybe page 5. Doesn't seem like a lot of changes. You want to maybe go through any change you have there? Looks like something's new there.
There's some shifting. It was just kind of adjusting. We had some absentee voter board was a little different. That one might have been the same. There were some that went down and some that went up, and it's just the shifting of where we need people on election day and leading up to elections. The new thing that I added in is our poll worker software.
Yes. Which we approved the other.
That we have started to implement that. We approved moving some money around a couple weeks ago, and we've just about got that implemented for this year. And this $8,000 is for the 27 year. I find that'll be a huge asset for our department when it comes to recruiting and communicating with poll workers, candidates, and all of their financial forms. We have to. The legislature put a new law out this past year that says we have to put campaign financial forms online for people to find. And we could do that in a very sloppy manner before, but this software will help us create the right way for people to access those forms. So I think that'll be a really valuable tool for us. The other thing that was in there was the ballot design. That number went a little less. So we have DRE machines and VVPAT machines when you come to vote, and the VVPAT machine was new in 2020, and Microvote has continued to try to evolve how the maintenance of that flows when they come to program our equipment for the new election. They didn't charge us the first year, then they charged us really high the next year. So they're just still kind of adjusting. So we'll save a little bit of money because they've found that they were maybe overcharging us, or that they didn't need to charge what they were across the board. So that saved us a little bit of money there. Polling locations is slightly increased. We're moving in Holland. The location we've been at is a church, and they now have a new community building. That'll be a great place for us to go vote at. So that was a slight increase, but we did have a savings from moving a different room in the Huntingburg Event Center. So we just kind of some fluctuations within the numbers for that. Again, I feel like I detail out the entire election budget, and I give it to you in a spreadsheet, and you may or may not have seen it. It's kind of in addition to all the forms that you're already seeing, but I've tried to account for every penny and not ask for, there's just a slight variance for chance if something goes wrong in that budget,
So in 20, there'll be a municipal election next year for 2027, and then the following year There would not be an election, probably.
No, there will be a presidential election the following year, and then after the presidential year, it's an off
Then
year.
it's an off year.
Yes. And also I will add, in a municipal election, after the election is over, we budget this, but we send an invoice to each of the municipalities and they reimburse us.
Okay.
And there's a state form that I fill out that says, here's how many mail-in ballots we sent, and here's how many people came to vote, here's how much we spent on programming, and it kind of divides it all out to each of those municipalities that have an election. So they'll reimburse us, and that goes to the county general once we get that reimbursed. So we're budgeting it, but we're getting reimbursed for running the municipal elections.
Thanks for the explanation. So then if there's no questions on that, we'll go to board of registration. It's like page 4. You should-
Should be the same.
Yep, same,
That,
no change there.
before we move to perpetuation, I had this, where we had the election equipment, was that in the CUNY cap?
Oh,
Is that where that goes? It was split into 2 years, and 2027 is the
yes,
second
it's
year.
in QCAP, on page 12 as well.
Page
13, I guess.
13.
Election voting. 136, 637 is what we had
So-
notes from last year.
Yes, that's the second. We paid the half of our upgraded DRE machines. We paid half of that in 2026, and then this is the balance that will be due in 2027.
Okay.
Since it was election related, I wanted to point that out. What page was?
12.
Sorry, I was on a different page. All right, clerk perpetuation fund should be the same. There was a slight increase in the scanned documents portal. It was 1,800 and now it's 2,100. They increased their monthly fee from 150 to 175. It's just they've scanned old court files and old books and our marriage license records, instead of us going downstairs to the records library every time somebody wants a marriage license. They're all scanned in the computer. That was done before I became clerk, and we pay a monthly fee to use the portal where we can access that. So that's what that is. So it went up. Their monthly fee went up. It actually went up last year in March, and I told them that we didn't budget it for this year, that they would have to hold off until we could go through the budget process, and they agreed. So
Doesn't always work out when they agree.
they agreed. I liked it. I think they deal with government entities enough. They understood the budgeting process. I think that was just, they were like, look, we're losing money if we don't pass this fee on, and then they decided they had to wait as to when they had to implement it.
I don't think I have any other questions. We'll discuss some of this later. So,
Yeah, if you find that you do have questions later and you want to talk about, I really would encourage you to, if you want to come and experience what it's like to sit in the clerk's office and understand my bilingual staff member and the needs that she goes through on a daily basis. It's 20% of every day that she's using it, so it wouldn't take long for you to have a vision of what it's like.
I don't have any doubt on this, speaking Spanish, but what do you do when someone that speaks French Creole or Vietnamese or
We've had Creole a couple.
Somali?
Yep.
What do you do?
We've had that a couple times, and we've called that court line. And we sit on hold for 3 or 4 minutes before we get a translator on the phone, and then we just sit with the phone at the window to do conversing. Or that person will bring a translator with them.
So common sense speaking, the second biggest language spoken would be Spanish, so that's why we need to incentivize our bilingual Spanish translator. But you are gonna get increasing cases of languages that we're
Other
never gonna
languages.
have a second person that can speak, or someone that speaks that second language. So we'll have a little bit of a bottleneck no matter what we do, really, right?
I mean, as far as when we've used that court line, me personally, I don't know if anybody else in my office has ever used it. I'm sure the court has used it a time or two, but it's been, in the 10 years that I've been in the office, I think I've called it 3 times. So there was not a large percentage of our day that's outside of the Spanish speaking side of languages, but if that becomes more, then I guess we'd have to deal with that too.
You could question maybe the private sector. I mean, you go to any bank teller, they've always got someone who can speak normally.
Yep.
I don't know how they compensate those people.
I could do a
I
little
know
research.
the license branch, they use the phone normally.
Mhm.
Local license branch, or when I was in there, that's what they
Yeah.
were doing.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is a concern. I don't know if everybody can pay a premium for, so the 20% is over $9,000, like you say, you got budgeted. That's quite a bit of pay.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree.
make a lot of calls for that.
Well, I mean, 20% of her work is being done in a different
I'm not
language,
doubting that.
so,
I'm
like,
just saying it's, on our end, when the general
Yeah.
fund's overrun already,
I want to meet in the middle. Like I threw a number in there maybe to catch your attention and to have a good
They
conversation
can call
about
mine.
it. Yeah.
Well, and I think we kind of have maybe 10 people on staff who speak Spanish.
So, I mean, and that's the other thing. How do we weigh that? Because every office is going to come in, or every department's going to say, I got this person, so-and-so's getting paid, why can't I? So, I mean, it's,
Well, and I think the other thing you gotta think about is, say my office, I'd hire somebody, I don't have the money like that, and if I hire someone that can do it, how do I pay that?
Well, again, she's been with me for a year and a half and she didn't come asking for it. I have found the value in it and feel like that's what this process is for. And it's an opportunity for me to say that we should be thinking about it. And if you want to put some parameters around it, that's fine.
I think the conversation would go a little easier if it was in the job description.
Yeah,
specifically
yeah,
for
I'm
that.
perfectly fine with that as well.
So-
Just how we get there is where this is starting, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
appreciate you.
I'll reach out to maybe some private sector businesses and see if I can find anything local as far as research and what they
Because
offer.
It is a concern all over the county. That's an issue.
Yeah.
Communications.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the treasurer's up next. So we're ready. How are you this morning?
Fantastic.
Thanks for
Good
coming.
morning, all.
If you could introduce yourself for the public.
Absolutely. Craig Grolick, DuBois County Treasurer.
What we're gonna do here is, maybe on page 1.
Okay.
Yeah, you do, it's right there.
Well, no, I mean, I didn't have it.
It's a new page.
Okay.
It's new page 1.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. His didn't change.
Yes.
The clerk's the one that changed
But
it.
if you could, you want to maybe go through it line by line?
Absolutely.
It's just 5 minutes of fame.
Thank you. That's right. Don't take it away from me. That's right. All right. So the first 3 are the compensation, which you guys had set. So no arguments there. So part-time, I think the only thing that may have changed there is I changed the hourly rate. I'm not sure if you guys have seen that.
So that was something that was actually not used. You don't have a part-time person at this point, right?
Correct. I do not, but I'm thinking that I want to maybe try that for next year. So I spoke with Jackie at in the clerk's office, the recorder's office, and she has some part-time people. And our thought was maybe there might be 3 or 4 days, because it depends on when our mail comes. I'm trying to avoid comp time. We thought maybe we could pay some of her people to come over, one person, I should say, help open the mail. Maybe that's 3 hours, maybe it's 2 hours, depending on how much mail we get. So there's sometimes we get 2 huge trays, sometimes we get 1 tray and it doesn't take long. So there's a lot of flexibility. I think it'd be challenging to hire somebody and then not really have a nice routine for them to say, hey, show up at 11. Hopefully the mail shows up by then. Because sometimes it shows at 10:30, sometimes it might be noon.
Okay.
And there's so many uncertainties that really make it,
So
kind of a big
how would the pay work there? I mean, like if you're taking it, you're using the recorder as a part-time person, so would they have to have two paychecks or whatever?
well, it would come from 2 line items, to my understanding. Is that right?
Split the pay.
Yeah. So it'd be the
Talking
same
about working on
hourly
the
rate.
same day.
Yes. Maybe they would stop working at 11 o'clock at,
That gets really messy.
yeah,
I just wondered how it would work.
Right.
It's possible though, right? More or less.
Well, on the timesheet, you know, so many hours here, so many hours there. You just gotta make sure they don't cross, because you don't want to double pay.
right.
And then are they gonna be paid the same hourly rate?
Yes, that's what I was hoping to do. I have a line item already that I haven't used for years, but I do have, I have a budget of $6,400 there.
And I'm not disagreeing with you. I love the principle, because when you were sitting in here, that's
Yes,
what we always wanted. Why not, if somebody's not busy, shift it, you know?
yes. I think it's fantastic. Let's shift it around a little bit and create that flexibility that we
So,
all
I mean,
need.
that's a great idea.
Mhm.
I just wondered if how it would
Right.
affect.
Yeah, I don't know the back end of it here like these 2 ladies, but I take it for granted they will make it work.
I'm
Because
sorry.
They will.
You go
You
on.
heard him, he takes us for granted.
And we clean up his messes.
Craig, the hourly rate that you said you had changed to that, is that the same hourly rate that she currently?
That's
pays?
correct. Yes.
Getting a no over.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's not what she's budgeted for.
Okay,
So you two are gonna have to work that out.
okay.
I mean, have that conversation
All
as
right.
far as what, I would make sure it's the same hourly rate.
Yes. Well, initially my hourly rate was $15 and some change. So it was, I'm thinking considerably less.
I think you have budgeted a little more and she has budgeted a little less.
Okay,
So,
all right.
but you can always pay less, you can't pay more. So,
Right.
With the additional, would that put the person over to full, like, having 2 part-time, going
Gotta make
to 2
sure they don't-
part-time places?
they gotta
like,
watch
you gotta
that.
make sure you gotta keep it under, what is it?
29.
29 hours or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So, I mean, you gotta also keep that.
And we have that flexibility because it might only be 2 hours a day.
and yours is seasonal. I mean,
Right. I'm probably 10 days at the most is all I'm going to be.
for the whole year.
Yes.
I really like the idea personally.
We just have to make sure on the wage stuff, on the, on the ordinance, the compensation ordinance, that you guys have this, you don't have less or more than she does. You want to make it even.
On the pay.
Because if you have $18 an hour and she only pays 16,
Correct.
she can't go up.
All
You
right.
have to go down.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. We will make it sure that it's.
Sounds good.
Okay, so moving on. So the part-time and then comp time, I did lower that as well. I think when I first initiated a couple years ago, I didn't really know how much it was gonna be, and so I'm keep bringing it down to
And we
a
had,
more
we
realistic.
had conversation on that, of why you needed it, but that was a good conversation. you know.
Yeah. So I don't think we're really gonna pay too much with the comp at the end of the year, but Laurel might have some
Oh,
that we'll
sure.
end up, that we'll have to pay. But I don't think it'll be amount for that 1,500.
And your first deputy is going to exclude it, so they won't be able to earn comp time
Right.
next year.
Correct. So 1,500 is probably still a high number at this point, so maybe next year's budget, we can even bring that down another $500. Okay, so. Okay, office supplies, everything stays the same there. Envelopes, raised the $500, stamps went up a little bit again. So we're always struggling with that. We're still trying to work to try to make sure not to get any return mail. There's been talk about, instead of mailing tax statements, about possibly emailing them.
Really?
So there's, I'm not sure how that's gonna work, because I feel like that would be a pretty challenging situation. Met with a couple vendors and didn't really like how that was gonna go, just based on all the behind the scenes stuff that it
I
would
wonder how that
create.
worked, if it had to be, if it had to be sent through the mail, just given, what it is and
Right.
how, I don't know, official, I guess.
Well,
business is.
crazy enough, we received the return envelope, last week
It's
from
crazy.
that we sent out in the spring. So they said that, yeah, we got a return, finally came back. That was last, maybe 2 weeks ago.
Maybe Louisville's finally getting mail off the floor.
Yeah.
How would it be
Picking
too
up the pieces.
easy just to offer it to some people who would? Because
Right.
I can guarantee there are a lot of people that do not have email, elderly. you
Right.
know, email access.
But you could come in and sign up to be
If
on
you
that list or
wanted to,
something.
yeah.
Is there current regulation that you have to mail it, or?
That's what I was-
No, I don't believe so. I think that's just the best way to get it out.
Sure.
So,
I don't know if there's a statute.
right, not to.
But if
when
you
we had
don't
conference,
receive
they
it,
say
For
that,
tax sale.
that doesn't mean you don't have, you're not liable to pay for it.
Right.
If you own land, you know you're gonna pay it.
Oh, I don't get that for free.
Right,
You know, that and there's still a service
counting
charge on that. Yeah, credit cards, right?
yes.
So I mean, that people, you know, it seems like that paper copy to come, and they like to see the treasure.
Yeah, that's right.
They do, you're right, Mike, you're right there again. So. So, all right.
You're making me red-faced, Mike.
Yes, I know. I don't know what's going on here. All right, so we raised that $500, travel, stayed the same. Professional services has always been zero. But I don't think we want to get rid of that line in case we would need it down the road.
That's up to the system.
Yeah,
He puts it
okay.
there or takes it out.
All right. Repair and maintenance, we've always left it at 4,000. You know, one thing I wanted to do, which I didn't, is see really how much I spent on my budget last year. And maybe that's for next year. Okay. Bonds, I think it's 790. You have that now?
We possibly can, we gotta see.
Okay.
Let's see if it's working.
All right. So I think my bonding is like 790, so 800 stays the same. Do the subscription the same way. Machine equipment, 2,000, so nothing has changed there. So
So who's bonded in your office?
just me.
Just you?
Yes, sir.
All of our employees are under our E&O bonds with just our insurance. But elected officials have to have another bond on top of that.
Okay. Thanks for explaining that. I just kind of wondered that.
Well, not all
Because you're-
elected officials. I think there's 8 of us.
It's because you handle
Handle
money, right? More money.
And,
And the statute tells you how much you have to have it.
yeah.
He holds the highest because he holds more money than any of us.
So Laurel is retiring at the end of the year, going out with Sandy. So we'll be looking for a new person.
Okay.
And, which I think there would be a lot of shakeup in the courthouse. I feel like there's gonna be, we're all gonna try to find a challenge, to find good people. That's what we want.
Yep.
And, so I think, talking to Marky, I think we're gonna probably start that in October, to try to find that person. They won't start till January the 3rd or 4th, whatever that Monday is, the 4th. But we want to at least start the process.
Well, thanks. Thanks for what you do.
Yeah, so we're getting, that's 30 some years of,
Experience.
yeah, that's going out the door. Same with Sandy's,
Right.
that I've relied on. So,
We all have.
yeah, absolutely. All right, anything else? Any other,
I don't think I have any other questions. But thank you for coming in. Appreciate it.
yes, appreciate you guys. All right.
Yeah, we better take it.
I think you guys, it's pretty cool in here. One of the things that
I know Mike's freezing us
I
out.
would say, you remember my first budget meeting was downstairs.
And it was hot.
Yeah, the air conditioner quit working, so we came back from lunch. It was, and we were here till after 6 o'clock, sweating, oh my gosh.
Well,
Sticking to the chair, so,
that's those department heads, they like to see us sweat up.
yeah, that's right. Fantastic.
So, yeah, thank you for what you do.
Yeah.
I would say you're also you do a good job with investments, and that's important.
We just did something different this week with taking some of our money that we have and invested it for because longer rates, when I say longer, 130 days are a lot better than a 30-day rate. So that's a good something recently. So we're gonna gain additional $37,000 by investing in
You
different.
do the sweep accounts too, or no?
No sweep, no, kind of more money market. Yeah, but it's, works out pretty nice for us. Really.
Thank you for
Yeah,
that
thanks.
support.
Yep. All right.
Good job.
Thank you.
I'm still trying to, she's gonna go check to see if the board's working.
Okay. You can shoot me an email.
To see what you spent
Yeah, last year.
in what, a specific line item?
Just my total budget.
Yeah.
Okay. Only because
What you spent so far?
No, from last year. Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to see what, no, budget of 200,000 for the year. I didn't know if I even.
Oh,
if I
it
truly
went
did.
down or went
Yeah.
up?
You get started early.
From last year to this year?
Well, what I truly spent, that's what I'm trying to find.
Oh,
If I truly spent, or what I truly spent.
for 25 or
Correct.
26?
For 25.
It's 26 is the number.
2 days
Yeah.
this year, and I get
Yeah.
those monthly.
2 days.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that would,
What do you
that
do?
won't be on the new system.
Basically today, 8 to 2 day. Yeah, really.
Otherwise, it's 8 to 8.
I'll give you the-
It was late last year.
I think we're spending more time.
It's not
this year.
changing here. I think
Yeah,
that's.
that's the 2 days.
That's
free.
It is free.
My nose is running. I jiggled it when I came on.
Hey, you, did you work hard?
I did.
Good.
Got needles too.
You did?
When they hit something tender, you can feel it.
Here's the something check.
I've had it.
Like I.
Oh. She just turned it up, Mike. Yeah, I just touched it. My nose is running. I have to do something.
Smells like sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
It's nasty cold in here.
Okay.
You can bring your blanket or is that there?
That was very good.
Yeah, I mean, I wheeled it down with the light cable, so the lights on.
I can see I guess the other one's busy.
Oh, oh, there it is. Yeah, by the cord on. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, when I went down there, I traced it. It was off, and as soon as I touched it, it went on.
So this is what drives.
What disc? We don't have any discs.
I restarted it.
I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's not on that book. It's on page 30.
Yeah, absolutely.
Put your glasses on, dude.
Oh, it's on the general.
Yes, you're in the general fund.
There it
County
is.
surveyor.
Yeah.
I was looking for the corner perpetuation.
Well, that's on page 17.
Is this current,
Yes,
like today?
no, we printed it 2 weeks
That's
ago.
Huh?
These are your budgets. These are your
where's the-
budgets. This isn't what you've been using. This is your budget
This
for
is,
next
I know,
year.
what's the total in the, not to be needed, no.
He's a problem. You wanna know how much is in your.
I wanna know how much I can spend out of the corner.
That's the cash, this is budget. The number on it. No, you cannot buy a boat.
It's been 30 years,
No,
she's chasing
not
me
buy a
out.
boat.
I'm done with her.
She's leaving.
So if you would want to introduce yourself for the public.
Ken Brosmer, County Surveyor.
Thanks for coming in. I guess we'll start on page 3 at the top. It's, we don't have a huge amount there. Like, the wages, you just accept, kind of accepted what the wage study had said that.
Right.
And, I don't see a whole lot of change here.
It's actually the same.
So, I mean, just the wages basically.
Right.
Looks like it's
Right.
got adjusted.
Just minor change.
Yeah.
That's very minor.
And then on sheet 17, or page 17,
Right.
the perpetuation fund, if you maybe want to give us an update on that, where you're.
I kept that the same also. It's been, we don't really draw too much out of that extra budget. Sometimes salaries, sometimes travel, but purchase a few things. I did want to mention today that I'm planning on retiring at the end of the year.
Okay.
So this budget is for 2027.
Right.
So whoever replaces me, you do not have to be licensed surveyor to be the county surveyor. So there's 2 gentlemen that have expressed interest and they're not licensed. So that elected official amount, and I can't remember if it's half, if you're not licensed, you get half.
Oh, okay.
So that will have to be addressed,
At that time.
at that time. Everything else, I'm really making a budget for someone else, and I would think it's gonna be fine. So, like the 911, whoever takes my place could do the 911. I always hire Craig Beck, has done it for many, many years, just kept it the same guy all those years, and it's worked great. No issues that I know of. So there could be a few things there, but from the dollars from the general fund and the coroner fund, and there's all kinds of money in the coroner fund, so you're not licensed and you need to establish a point gets knocked out, satellites fall out of the sky or whatever. He can take that money in the coroner fund and hire a licensed surveyor to do something. That's what that money's for.
Okay.
A lot of counties use that money around the state because they do not have a licensed surveyor in office. And then they sub that work out to a survey to establish points. So I think it's a great fund for counties, and haven't really been able to spend it since I am licensed, and I haven't spent it.
Yes.
So it's in there for whoever follows me up if they're not licensed. So just thought I'd make that, because that will change possibly.
Thanks for sharing that. Is the perpetuate, the corner stakes, are they all good now? You have all of them set,
Yeah.
right? But you verified it.
Everything's finished, and now it's basically just a maintenance program.
Okay.
Just like following up the pavers. You see all the paving in the county, 400 North, 47th Street, city's doing that. There's a couple points there. A lot of county roads are getting resurfaced, but the city mills, so they knock my points out, right?
Okay.
Well, the county overlays, so if they're on the surface, they're only 1.5 inches deep. We've got most of those dug out and brought to the surface, so now they're just gonna be 1.5 inches instead of sometimes 10 inches deep.
Okay.
Or 8 inches deep. So now you're just basically going around and maintaining what we've done in the last 30 years. So, yeah,
Well, thanks for that. That was a pretty big,
it was a fun project, and glad it's finished. Not as much fun.
Is that why you're retiring?
That's right. It's just not as much fun.
Because I won't buy you a boat.
Yeah, trying to spend that money in the coroner fund, but she's tough.
Well, thanks for everything you've done for the county, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, I don't really have any questions on the budget, unless someone else does. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wish you the best of health.
See you, girls.
See you later, Ken. Last year, you were about 50 seconds on your budget. Just because you're retiring, you bumped it up to 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
Gotta go out on top.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, take care.
Next year, you're gonna have to put him on there.
How are you today? Thanks for joining us, and you can introduce yourself.
Jackie McFerrin, Du Bois County Reporter.
Thank you for coming. Guess we'll start on page 1,
Well, it's on the top of page 2.
the top of page 2.
It's just a heading on one.
You don't want to touch anything, it's kind of a simple budget there.
I don't have much on mine.
Okay, well, it's basically about the same except for the wages.
Yeah.
So then we'll move on to, let's see, we'll move on to 14.
Some pages in there twice. ID security.
That remains the same, it's been that way the whole time, since I've been in office, Didn't change it.
All right.
18.
18, and then goes to
Elected official training, same,
Elected official training.
Yes.
it's the same.
Same as.
There's 5 offices that can use that money.
And then the,
Them being one of them.
it's page 16, the perpetuation. fund.
The last one.
Yeah, that's,
Okay, I pay for pretty much everything out of my office through that fund, including the part-time people.
I don't have any questions there, I appreciate that. Appreciate you working with us on the library basement there, work on that, and looks like you're working with the treasurer there, if that works out. I hope
Yeah,
it does. Yes, it does. And then, enhanced access.
That's a new fund that we started when we got our new software. Before, the old software that we had, it was DocsPop that did our online. They collected, subscription fees from people who do searching online in our office, and they kept it all. The new program that we have with Fiddler, we get a portion of that. So we need the enhanced access fund, and that fund can only pay a certain stuff out of it. So as we get money in there, we can pay for a lot of our software, things like that back out of it. So it's basically, we're getting a cut of the subscription fees that before we never got. So we're getting those now. So we needed a fund created for that. So it's just an in and out kind of fund.
Can you repeat how that's generated?
So that is generated whenever someone buys a subscription to search in our county. Right now, like before, with DocsPop, say they bought a $38 a month plan, and then they pay $1 per page that they print. We got the $1 per page, but the company DocsPop kept that $38. We got nothing. The new software company that we have now, say we collect $30 a month from someone, we get the full 30, and then we have to pay back like a certain amount back to Fiddler, but we get a portion of that. We get to keep that in county, and then that helps pay for the subscription. To have Laredo as our software company, kind of gives us a little more money than we were getting before.
Okay.
But it has to run through a certain fund like that. It's called enhanced access. It's a technicality, I don't know. Sandy knows more than I do.
Thanks for explaining that. I don't have any questions. Do you have anything general, anything new in your office or anything? Everything's okay. Well, it's going to be short and sweet here. Okay, so we've got something else. So thank you for coming in.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We have the assessor next, it looks like. So if you're ready.
Page 3. Page 3.
Start with maybe, if you could introduce yourself for the public.
Angie, excuse me, Angie Geese for County Assessor.
Thank you for coming in, and we'll start on page
3.
3. To the bottom of the page there. And if you want to hit on what, any changes, I know that it looks like you followed the wage study as far as
Yes.
wages.
Yeah, there was the changes based on the wage study. The level 1, 2 accounts stayed the same. Office supplies, I think stayed the same. Postage probably increased a little bit, just because of the increase in postage that we all experienced.
That's typical.
Yeah, let's see. Well, that third deputy went away because we're in the process of hiring that temporary replacement for Jackie.
When does that start?
What?
This temporary, I mean, this replacement? or
Well,
something?
I'm advertising right now. I got applicants, I haven't selected, but I'm hoping to have someone hired, maybe mid-September, by the end of September.
Okay,
So,
so by two and a half months or so, roughly speaking, or something
yeah,
like that, they would shadow each other. Okay.
right.
Okay,
So
thanks.
really, there was no changes really of any
No,
of the
I-
other budgets.
Don't see anything either there.
Really wasn't much change other than the
And then we'll,
salary.
page 5, I guess, be the over.
There's an extra folder there, so we can do, oh. So there we have Peterboa.
Looked like much change.
Nothing really changed. Nothing changed.
Okay.
No.
And then we'll move to reassessment on page 18, 19.
Part-time clerical. Let's reduce that a little bit. And the FICA. Mainly because next year our personal property is not gonna, unless something changes, should, our need for any assistance, part-time assistance is gonna either be non-existent or very minimal.
Okay.
Just to kind of see where we're going. I reduced it a little bit and may get to reduce even more once we get through next year. So you never know what they're gonna change. So, yeah, and everything else is pretty much, well, on this first page is pretty much the same.
19.
Contractual services, that's our title budget, so.
What is that? Can you explain that?
That's our reassessment company, Tyler Technologies,
Okay, so-
our 4-year contract with them.
So I know you mentioned just maybe for me and for the public. So is that, you're saying the reassessment is done, a portion of the county is done every year?
Yes, a quarter of the county is reviewed every year.
Okay,
And then they also do other services for the county, like ratio studies, sales review, they do a lot for as far as keeping us in compliance and
up to date, more or less.
yeah.
So is the county squared off in one of these, or do
No.
they take
The state-
commercial first or
The
something?
state requires us to we'd like for it to be like, all just school districts, but the state requires us to do 25% of all categories of property, which is agricultural, commercial, industrial, residential. So to get those exact 25% of the county, you know, we try to stay in a certain area, but we may have to pull from another area just to meet that 25%.
Okay.
It's not just 25% of the parcels, it's 25% of each category. So, you know, we try to kind of stay in a certain area, but if we have to, you know, if that area doesn't have like a lot of agricultural in it, we'll have to maybe pull from another area, you know, to get that 25%. So but we try generally to stay in a certain location, you know, kind of like the quarters, but we may have to pull from others just to meet that 25% of a category if that area doesn't have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I'm just questioning, you know, there's, you know, naturally property taxes is a big thing. So when they do that quarter, does that assessment then show up on your next, you know, your next property tax statement, I guess I should say? So they
Right.
update it
Yeah,
quarter.
well, actually, assessments are updated every year. It's called trending. So we have to look at sales and we trend property every year, meaning we look at sales for a certain group or area of the county, and we look at the sales of what are happening in that area. And if we're not within 10% of the sales, we have to trend or increase that assessment to meet that obligation, that state obligation. So all properties are trended. Doesn't mean all properties are gonna go up every year. Just depends on what the sales are showing us, you know, what we need to do. The actual quarterly review is where we actually physically go out and view the property and make any kind of changes we feel, you know, need. You know, a lot of times that's when we pick up buildings that haven't been reported to us, we remove buildings that haven't been reported to us, make some condition changes if we see condition issues, or, you know, just update it based on our visual inspection. And if we don't, we try not to be very invasive, you know, so we try to get on the property, see what we can. We don't go on and walk around every building and measure everything again, all that. But if we see new construction, we'll note it, and then we'll come back later at another time to pick up any kind of new construction or, you know, so.
I have a question on that one. Someone said something, mentioned something to me the other day. They had read an article about drones. Being part of assessing properties, is that something that you're familiar with or heard of?
No.
I hadn't.
I mean, well, I've heard of people doing that, but no, we're not looking at that here in DuBois County. I could see where, you know, it would really be beneficial for, you know, big cities, you know, where you just very populated, where it's really hard to, you know, visual, you know, see a building, you know, but yeah, it's definitely possible.
People will feel a lot better knowing that they're not using drones.
No, we're not using drones.
Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the explanation. I think the public, and maybe I learned something too, so I didn't know. I knew it was done every quarter, or, you know, every quarter of it, every 4 years.
Right, that's the physical inspection of properties. So, computer support, pretty much stayed the same. Did want to mention this coming year will be our last installment for our conversion over to Exoff, which has been a tremendous asset for our office, and really appreciate
So it's
approving
worked
that.
out, worked out better than you thought, or
Yes.
as good as you thought?
Yeah, we found a lot of mistakes from our old software company, things that weren't being done according to Indiana cost tables, and some things that were good catches, and things that needed to be cleaned up and corrected. So, and it's just so much more efficient, and you can just gather as much, you know, you can just create reports and find information that, you know, is very easy, where before we had to like call in and say, well, can you pull this information out for us? And then we had to wait months and months. So computer support is amazing. So yes, it's definitely a good change. Yes.
And I guess there's no other questions there.
Yeah.
As we're back on sales disclosure on page 12.
And that's probably the same 10,000. I think we
Stayed the same.
usually, yeah, we use that for our computer support for actually Exalt. We have our Exalt system takes care of our sales disclosures and our personal property, everything that we do in our office as far as assessments, and is done through that one system, which makes it nice.
Yeah, thank you for answering my questions. Does anyone else want questions on budget or general questions for the assessor? Appreciate you coming in. I think that kind of answers what we need.
Okay.
So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So next is the soil and water. If you would introduce yourself in public.
Good morning. Thank you. Veronica Helming, Executive Director.
Thank you for coming in, and we'll start, I guess, reviewing this on page 11. So, and looks like one thing here. So if you want to touch on your breakdown there.
The wages were just what the wage study recommended. Comp time, I reduced by 1,000 due to the executive director position becoming exempt from comp time. And then office supplies, I increased by 200 due to most of our office supplies comes from the USDA, but they've been kind of restricted on when they can buy things and when they can get them in. So that's kind of put some restrictions on us on if we need something right now. So, and with things increasing in price. And other than that, everything else has stayed the same.
So some of those were just combined, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Well, any questions? Veronica? So, okay. Well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
It's short
and sweet.
Do you want to sit up here for hours?
It's up to you. I'm just listening.
Like we start. Everybody knows Sandy Martin.
I'm Sandy Morton Auditor. Page 1.
And that's the revised sheet. Look at the text.
Basically, I followed the wage study as recommended, and I didn't change anything else on our budget, so
Okay. Sounds good.
that's page 1.
So page, I guess 18 is next on the.
18. Oh, ineligible deductions. Ineligible deductions, I just put some money in there for if we would need, like a monitor or a computer or something would go out. That fund is dependent on if we find ineligible deductions and charge people for them. If somebody does a homestead and is ineligible and we charge them for it, that's what that is.
Okay.
So I think the 5,000 is just, like I said, for in case we need computers, monitors, scanners, something that may go out.
16 on the book.
16. I did not change it. It's a $4,000 fee for data pit stop. He has a thing on our website that breaks down all kind of data and people can click on it, 10 highest taxpayers, there's all kind of data on there, and he does that for us. He also does our inventory at a pit stop, but we've paid that one-time fee, so that's done. But anytime we have any kind of questions, we could call him and he'll find out for us. I mean, he's kind of amazing.
And then,
Didn't change that. And the county 4D, I just stuck with me just because we do the cost allocation plan, Malacon, for indirect and cost allocation plan for your Title 4D expenses, which is your child support. It's a federal program. And they cost allocate some of our time that is used for child support, building space, lights, utilities, storage space. They come in and do that. And I think it's in March, it's due to the state. And then that gives us money back for, like when Mike Fritz was talking about last week, that it's the county's share of it.
well, questions for the auditor? If we-
Not about this, I always have questions for her, not about this.
Well, thank you. So now we got did you want to add anything else?
No, I have nothing else to add.
Okay, so let's not take our time here and go through the council. I think we agreed on, we agreed to put the wages as recommended by the wage study. Travel and mileage did not change, printing and advertising, miscellaneous and dues, nothing changed there except the wages, so on that part. Lit Ed, page 11 and 12. So, okay, I guess we start out with FICA and PERF. Again, that was broken down from benefits. And then the longevity pay. We have to agree on that, and that's coming on of this lit.
We put it in as a placeholder. We took the wage study and what we calculated on the wage study and hopefully got it in the park. Some people will be leaving, new people won't be eligible, so.
One thing to consider is when we pay that out at the end of the year, so the year that may change from person to person, because I've talked to a couple and they said, well, I'm one more year than that if you're gonna pay it out at the end of the year. So I don't know how it was originally calculated by the current amount, but if you're calculating from halfway through compared to when you're actually paying it out, they get their another year in between that time.
It depends on how they write the plan. If the plan says at the end of 26, whatever you are, we're gonna pay it in 27, then it's as of 26. So it depends on how the plan's written. If the plan says what you're currently at that moment, then we'll add the year. So it all depends on how the plan's written, and the plan's not been written yet.
This was
Which I
figured,
think would be fair if you're been for 20, let's say 18 years compared to 17. I think if that's what you're getting paid out, then what you're paid out at that time should be what your years of experience are.
When would you recommend that be? Would it stop it?
Well, I think we talked about the end of the year in December, so whatever years you are in December of 27, when you get paid out, that'd be.
So you would count 27, you're saying, year 2027?
Yeah, because whatever year work, yeah. That's what I
Even, I mean, the only thing we thought about is what if somebody leaves, you know, the day after it's paid out, you know.
But they've worked those years, right?
Yeah.
They've worked that 27 years, either that or you're screwing them out of a year, basically.
Right, I'm not arguing.
That's what I'm saying, like if they work to whatever they're at that time, after that,
So I think again, it's gotta be an ordinance or.
Right, yeah, I agree, I just wanted to make note of,
That's
hey, whatever we pay them out compared to what you have to have these under use of service by, there could be some.
It has to clearly be stated in that policy, how you're gonna pay it, how you're gonna calculate it, so there's no.
This is based on how we calculate PTO currently,
Okay.
Which is.
completed
just-
years
just
of
for-
service.
Okay.
So again, we're gonna have to vote on that this afternoon if we want to initiate that. So, computer maintenance might be 0, that's contractual service, HR study, Baker Tilly. It was all 0. Court door, security annual fee, that's the signaling up at the back door, I think, of the courthouse, and also the judges' chambers. I think that all serves. So that was the way, so economic development, that's Du Bois Strong.
Well, the 100,000 is between, if the 60 is Du Bois Strong, the 40 is Grow Du Bois County. It's 59 something, but we budget 60.
And then 4-H, that's gonna be something we have to decide, that's what they're requesting. And 4-H that basically maintains their buildings and structures out there. They raise a lot of money themselves, but we have to for sure decide on that, and also we should do that as we go here and take a vote, or
On the economic development, Sandy, did Colton say that he was gonna get more active with that 40 that he put to the side? Or something like this.
He's been spending it more on projects now.
Than it happened.
Right.
I mean, do we, we're gonna have to go back through this again this afternoon, otherwise this is the last thing on our agenda here. Do we want to discuss these and maybe have a consensus of if we want to continue leaving them in the budget? We won't vote on the total budget until whenever, we have to have a public hearing first, and then we'll have a public, so.
Yeah, nothing's finalized until October.
Right. So what's the feeling of the council? We want to kind of put a show of hands up on these next few, these budgets as we go. Otherwise, just going to repeat it at one. Everybody fine with that? Okay, let's just, so I think the big one here is is longevity. And I'll just make a comment, we kind of looked at that as being part of somewhat of a wage increase if we can afford it. It's coming out of lit, so it does not affect the general. We were kind of in a bind here in the general fund. So I guess discussion, anyone want to make a comment?
The only thing I question there is that amount that we've got in for longevity. I think there was discussion last week about maybe adding probation in on that longevity.
Yes.
And is that number included?
I would have to look.
That would be my only question. I'm absolutely in favor of it, but I'm just curious if that number would cover them or not.
I think I would look at that as if we're foreign, then we make that separate vote on,
whether to add.
That's really the only outlier at this point. Otherwise, everybody's going to be covered.
Okay. That would be my only question there.
But she could adjust that budget.
Okay.
It would never affect the dollar amount. And what Doug said too, you know, when would we do it? You know, we include that by 2020. You know, so that would affect that. I don't know how they funded that or how they thought about that, but we'd have to double check that after those. You know, if we approve it, I think today, or we not approve it, but if we have a consensus that we want to go ahead with it, then I think it would have to get into the budget, and then they'd have to work up this, the ordinance to how we would direct it. And that would really be the commissioners, right, basically speaking.
So it won't go higher than the number in the budget.
Well, the thing with longevity is if you hire a new person, they're not gonna be qualified for it. Or somebody leaving is gonna leave and not get it. So if they've got 10 years, that money's not gonna go out. Your new person's not gonna get that.
So this number can only go down.
It can only go down unless you hire somebody. Well, you couldn't because break in service is a break in service. You can't go back.
So just for example, that number is probably including your years of service currently. So that'd be, that's $3,000 right there.
And there's several of us, like Laurel, 30
Sure,
years.
same thing.
So she's same thing.
Okay.
Further discussion? Otherwise, I'll ask for a show of hands who would be in favor of having longevity. So it looks like it's unanimous. Okay, the next one here then, you know, economic development, we discussed that again, this is the commissioners, but it's our say, if we want to delete, you know, lessen that, or if we want to keep it like it is. It's 60-40, whatever it is, on the 100,000. Discussion on that.
What are some tangibles that they have done that benefit the county? I know they present all the time, but
I have to look on his thing to send last week.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm not saying they don't, I just don't know of any. Is there any examples you guys can think of?
Let's do a look at it.
So I think that's the sheet from last week. I think. Studies, thinking codes for this, for the zonings for the urban Jasper-Huntingburg. Business retention expansion. A review, housing study, childcare study, airport personalization. These are over the last 5 years. Patoka Lake engineering water usage study.
And I think he's selling that these studies now are gonna actually bear some fruit that they maybe shelved in the past, the way I took the presentation.
I would agree with that. I think that's what he's trying to convey to us.
And I think, you know, I shouldn't say he's relatively new, but, you know, Ed Cole was on there for a long time, but I mean, I don't know if we've given him a chance. I know we talked about pulling those funds, especially the 40,000. But you know, he's got some reasoning or, you know, to try to keep the ball moving on what he wants to, what his plans are. He's very, you know, he's trying to, I think this child study thing that they're doing, and one of the ladies out there, I mean, childcare, I mean, that's good. That's probably an important thing for the county as far as the workforce. You can't get a lot of women to work because they can't, you know, they can't make enough to pay for childcare.
We can't even find a city.
Right. It's totally that. So,
We already know what additional on top of that is gonna be learned, something more than what we already know with childcare is super expensive and we need more of it. What are some things that they're doing that would show additional information or different sources of fixing these issues.
I mean, the only one I would get off the cuff is, you know, they're trying to raise money or get industry to help support that, to lessen the cost. We can, you know, these are, I mean, that's the only thing I know. I know they're trying to get grants to try to develop a program of, but as far as specifics, no, I don't know of any specific thing.
He got a grant from USDA too. I know he's gonna do some research on potential new business that's aggravated. I do know he got that. It's the only thing I can think of right now. And then this zoning and encode thing, I don't know if that'll be a cost or a benefit, I don't know.
I mean, the density of housing.
Yeah, and like the revenue generation off of parcels, and he's studying that, I guess. How does that translate into more revenue generation for the county? I don't know. Maybe how they lay out stuff in the future or something.
Right, or utilization of existing lots, you know, like he had said.
Yeah, like getting it altered so they could maybe build more houses.
And I think, like the city of Jasper, you know, just using them as an example, I mean, they you know, they're trying to lessen their restrictions on smaller housing, whereas before, you know, you had to have some of those laws were, you know, you had to have your garage doors hid from the street and things like that really restricted smaller homes, you know. But
What should you do with it?
Right.
Smaller lots.
right, you know, and that's, you know, the cost of these developments, that's a big cost of land. They gotta make as many lots as they can with the amount of sewer and water lines around. I don't know, I think, personally, I think we should give them another chance here for 2027 and see what, you know, to do. I mean, you know, the funds that's not his total work budget. I mean, you know, a lot of industry puts money into that. I don't have those facts from me here, but otherwise I can't answer any. I don't know.
You're on the board, right?
Yes.
What ideas do the business people that are on the board want him to do or pursue?
Well, again, I think the childcare is the biggest right now. I mean, besides transportation. I feel that, I mean, the transportation system, they think needs improvement. If it's the Mid-States corridor or whatever, something has to be, or they think needs to be done. But this childcare, I just think people cannot, they got jobs out there they cannot fill them. And the women, mostly women, I'll just say, because they want to stay home with their kids instead of, you know, you make I mean, they had a study said that, you know, you make I'll use $100, you earn $100, it costs you $95 to keep your kids, childcare. So I mean, it's one of those deals. And I think they're trying to get, you know, the bigger manufacturing to help throw in and try to figure this out. You know, if I knew the answer, you know, we wouldn't have the problem, but I don't know the answer. And I don't know if anybody else, but I know that's one of the big things. You can't find employees. So, you know, it's people that, I mean, I think companies and individuals have given money to that, I mean, to help grow, you know, help grow Du Bois County and help. I mean, I'm an advocate for them as far as right now. I think they're on the right track. I didn't maybe feel that way 2 years ago or 3 years ago. But I do feel that maybe they're on a growth track. Further discussion? Otherwise, who's in favor of leaving that 100,000 in Du Bois Strong? So then 4-H appropriation. Last year, we gave them remember we fixed the cattle barn, we gave them extra money on it. Maybe see that on here, maybe I'm missing it. So, you know, we gave them extra money there to repair that floor that was sinking and redo the retaining wall and some other things, and they raised money and got grants to try to improve their lighting, those kind of things, out there. But again, you know, 104, when you, I guess when you got the amount of square feet out there in a wood building, it's a reflection on the county. And I think we have to, my opinion is we gotta keep that looking halfway decent. So, I mean, that's what they basically use it for, I think, is.
They do reimburse us when we do the settlement. They have their costs. We have our employee costs to manage the grounds, and we do a settle up, and they always owe us money, and I think they use some of this to pay us back.
Okay.
And especially since we raised salaries this year, they're gonna owe us a little bit more.
Any questions there or any comments, discussion? Otherwise, who's in favor of leaving that 4-H appropriation at $145,000? So that's unanimous.
And that was a 20,000. I feel like they were 125 a few years ago.
They were, I think last year we pushed them up, and the year before they were on 25, but then they couldn't, I mean, when they came in here, I mean, they were struggling to get.
Distress road loan, we have a 10-year loan, $100,000 a year, and then we pay it off interest-free, so I think that's due in 33.
And we already voted for that. That's set in stone, I thought.
You're committed to that.
Did you agree on the courthouse door annual fee?
We didn't vote on it, but I think we have to do that. It's a
You put it in
service.
place, you gotta serve, you
I
gotta.
just wanna
I
make
mean,
sure.
the judges would be over here. But you know, it's a pretty.
The emergency siren maintenance, that's in case a siren goes down, they have something to be able to fix it.
So we don't really necessarily have a choice there. either.
Tammy, EMA kind of monitors those sirens in the county.
The annual, the next one, the GIS.
They did increase their fee last year. You needed an additional this current year. So that's the current fee.
Okay. Community crossings match.
I don't know what he's gonna need.
You know,
He'll have to come in and ask you when he needs it.
Probably can see if he gets the auditors something, treasurer's
This is
something.
our new software annual fee. It's new with our new software. The Regional Wellness Center, this will be your, 2027 will be year 4 out of 5 years, so you have 2 more years.
How's that looking? I ain't been over that way.
There's a lot of dirt moving.
Okay, so that's, looks like economic development. So 12, we go to the CD.
Your ambulance, you talked with Brian last week. That's his ambulance equipment with a new ambulance in there.
Okay.
Cots, computers, batteries, and you said ambulance.
Any issues there? Okay. So then,
Computer upgrades, I put 100,000 in there as we rotate computers every 5 years. Or if any switches, any server, batteries, storage, it's constant. Amy talked about, this is the second pay installment for her election voting machine.
Okay.
And then county website design, that's our annual fee.
All right.
CR tax.
Let's see all.
Page 19. I think most of that is Wyatt's budget, except for you guys have the bond payment, which is $1,840,000. We make those in 2 installments. That's the total amount.
There again, I was wondering if, to change that, to look at putting those utilities and taking them out of general, for both those buildings. Any comments on that or questions on that, or? It's what I have here. I mean, does that make sense to the auditor's office to do that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
Can.
I mean, in the jail, it's 275,000, community corrections was 52,000. If we would shift that, that would save about 327,000 out of general. And, that's gotta, I guess we're bringing in more than we're spending, I guess, with the bond payment, to put it clearly. So, I mean, it seems like that can be used for that facility, those 2 facilities. I think we ought to utilize it, get out of the general.
I think that makes sense.
So I don't know if we can make that change.
Yeah. You want the jail and community corrections utilities moved?
That's what I think.
I'm trying to look.
I come up with 327,000 that we could shift. So that would be added to this budget. You can see what the bond payments are each year.
I was trying to look, they came up with the new estimates for the lit taxes. It came out last Friday night. We're gonna get $4,119,848 for the jail tax next year. So you can see that we're not budgeting
Right. Near what we're bringing in.
near what you're bringing in, so, it can take more expensive.
I just think we ought to, in the big picture of things, I know that's, the CNR tax is gonna go away in 2029. So, we'll have to make adjustments there, but,
I'm not sure the money that's sitting in that fund now, if you spend it to delete it, or if you're gonna have to move it next, I don't know how that's gonna work in 29.
I was thinking the
Anybody
same
knows?
way, will that be, you still got the bond to pay.
Right. You gotta make sure you cover your bond,
For the
but
next,
there's gonna be enough in that fund, hopefully, to let you spend it out for a little while.
so that's something we're gonna have to figure out, but I just don't, again, I just think, what we're doing there at Community Corrections is an important thing for the county.
And right now, it does have $10 million in it, so it's not enough to support these kind of changes.
Yeah, when that goes away.
Sandy, that number that you said just came out last week, or what was it?
Friday night, they posted our new estimated revenues for lit. Jail tax, $4,119,848.
Thank you.
So, I guess let's just have a consensus of, do we want to shift those utilities?
Come over, you mean?
Who's in favor of shifting those two?
Given the circumstances, yeah, it makes sense.
So it's 7 more. So just make a note to shift. Say $327,000, both of them. Okay. So moving on then, I don't see any other changes there to the CNO or lit. And then 21, looks like Region 15 planning.
That's by per capita.
Why did it change, why was the one line like zeroed out and brought to a different one? Is it just renaming it?
What page are you on?
21.
So that's, that's geology.
I don't even see it.
It's towards the bottom, 7304 is the fund. Is that what you're talking about?
Okay, yeah.
It's probably something with the conversion.
Are you talking
Wait a minute, we-
Oh, wait, no, not
That's
74.
tax.
49.
Yeah, 4900, yeah.
Oh.
It's probably just the software thing, is what you were saying, or conversion thing.
Distribute, it changed how we, it's the software
That's
conversion.
it, yeah.
Instead of doing other services, it's just distribution. Yeah, there's a lot of things that they converted, and I wish they would have talked to us before they just made a conversion number.
But like next year, it'll be all
And so
kind of
then-
evened out and whatever.
We tweaked some things after they converted it, because they didn't ask us.
Yeah. I understand what you mean.
It's good that you did this.
Yeah, we weren't involved in a lot.
Yeah, they just kind of did things and brought it to us and said, here you go, and we're like, that's not how we do this, that's not how we do this, so then
We're
we
still
tweaked it.
finding.
You're
things.
customizing based on
Yes.
your specific needs, yeah.
Will that hurt your history look back at all, having it?
That'll mess up what we look back at.
But you won't look back at it because there's nothing in it to look back. They didn't bring our history along. They only took 26s,
Didn't know that.
and our history's still in our old system.
So the base.
Yeah, they didn't convert any historical data. So if you go back and look, you have to go into the other system.
Truck numbers.
Can that be done later? Like, if there's some other, it can't even at all, it's not just a matter of additional work or
We had a
labor on
really hard
somebody's
time
end.
converting what we have.
No, seriously, I just a question.
No, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it was not a easy,
Wasn't.
no.
And that's my biggest thing that I keep saying to them is, if you would have communicated more with us, we could have told you where we wanted things, but they didn't ask. And they gave us a very short little window to do it in. But we're functioning in it now. We're still learning.
So the next one is tourism innkeeper's tax, then, 74,000.
You guys have an innkeeper's tax, and whatever we collect on that, we give it to tourism department and they do their budget.
So does, that particular, does the board that we appoint, they give approval that for the expenditures, or we lose control of it?
We lose control of it once it goes to them. They're their own like nonprofit entity or whatever, so we just have to collect the innkeeper's tax and hand it over. And this is kind of an estimate of what we think they're gonna collect. They get actual.
She came in and approved, she showed us her money.
Right.
More or less. So there's nothing really we can do that except approve it.
You guys can rescind the innkeeper's tax, but then that's about all you can do.
So that's basically it for right now.
So later, do you wanna start at the beginning of the book and just start just going through it, or how do you wanna do it?
I think that's what we're almost gonna have to do, otherwise we're gonna overlook something. So do we we want to break for lunch
They're not funding
and come
it.
back at 1?
County Commissioners yesterday denied it.
Whenever we can start up again. So certainly, we're a little ahead of schedule here.
We can do it a little earlier, I think. I mean, unless people
Be
have
better.
something specific they need to do for lunch.
You mean
12:30
for lunch?
Right. I mean, we could, since someone else is coming in, we could move it up a half hour or so, or whatever, right?
You can do whatever you want.
We don't have anybody else on our schedule for that. Yeah.
So do we want to break down and be back, try to be back at 12:30?
Sounds good.
It's okay with me,
Yeah,
unless
right.
you all.
I just made the reservations for noon, but
But they're probably gonna give us a jump on it for the last time, but. So do we want to close, this,
you can just
just,
break.
so you want to, let's just break, let's take a break for lunch and we'll be back at 12:30.
So we're going to, second place.